All right, thank you so much for your patience, everyone. A little bit of technical difficulties behind the scenes there. That happens when you do a live show and you're the star, the producer, the director, the everything. When you're wearing multiple hats like I am, sometimes things go a little crazy behind the scenes. So I appreciate your patience. Yes, the timer did reset. Doggone it, I needed that extra minute and a half to get things situated here behind the scenes. Anyways, my name's CJ. It's the CJ Curry Show, and you know it's presented by PrizePicks, right? Well, now you do if you didn't. PrizePicks is making daily fantasy sports easy on you by allowing you to pick up to 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 players and win up to 25 times your money. Guys, PrizePicks right now is giving away a 100% instant deposit match for first-time depositors. So if you know somebody who's waiting to play on PrizePicks, maybe they've been on the fence, well, this is a great time. Tell them to use promo code Curry when they get signed up, or the link down in the description below, and they'll get double their dollars. Their first deposit will be instantly matched all the way up to 100, meaning if they put in 100, PrizePicks is giving them 100, making their first entry, their first foray into PrizePicks completely risk-free and on the house. So shout out to PrizePicks for sponsoring the show. All right, everybody, what's going on? It's Thursday. We got ourselves a nice little small to medium-sized NBA slate. How did last night go for everyone? I mean, I know there was a lot of NBA games, a lot of exciting NBA games. Guys, I posted 3 picks to Patreon, and my, oh my. It seems like the bad luck just continues to hover over me a lot of these nights recently. 3 picks that I posted, all three of them lost by the hook. We had Franz Wagner over fantasy score. Franz was over his fantasy score until about the last minute of the game. There was a fast break situation. He throws a lob to Paolo Banchero. The only problem is he tried to throw a lob over Miles Turner. And Miles Turner, of course, knocked it down, and then it turned into a turnover, which, if you're not familiar with fantasy scoring on PrizePicks, you lose a point for every turnover. So that put Franz Wagner under by like less than a point on his fantasy score. So that was the first bad beat. The other bad beat, I had Jalen Green going over 2.5 3-point makes against the Washington Wizards. And what does Jalen Green do? Of course, he shoots 1 for 5 from beyond the arc in the first half. Only attempts 3 additional 3-pointers in the second half, finishing 2 for 8 from beyond the arc. I mean, this guy without Kevin Porter Jr. has been putting up 10, even up to a dozen 3-point attempts per game. And last night, for whatever reason, just decided I'm gonna take my foot off the gas when it comes to 3-pointers. And yeah, the other thing that was surprising about that game, it had an implied total over 230 points. Well, I think they had less than 220 points. So it ended up playing out as a low and slow pace type of game. Low scoring, slow pace type of game. And then the last bad beat of the night was Jaren Jackson Jr. over his points and rebounds without Steven Adams. Had a pretty good hit rate. Also good hit rates with matchups against the Golden State Warriors. So I was looking to take advantage of that. Jaren Jackson Jr. finishes with, I think it was 23 points and rebounds before fouling out. Needed 24. I think his line was 23.5. Anyway, that's how last night went for me. A few picks that I was feeling good about, they all lost by the hook. I'd rather lose by 1 million than by 1. So terrible luck lately. Anyway, let's get through the chat real quick. Todd's in the building. He says, wow, way to go, CJ. 8,000 subs in no time. Let's cash tonight to celebrate. That's right. If you're not subscribed yet, get subscribed. We're on our way. We're almost there to 8,000 subscribers. Remember at the beginning of the week, I set a goal. Let's try to get it done by the end of the week. We're almost there. I mean, it's becoming a reality. We can see this start to materialize here in the distance. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Go ahead and smash that like button. And I'm going to tell you in just a moment why you should be subscribed, why you should continue to hit that like button daily. We went over 100 likes for 3 straight days. We got a 3-day hit streak going, guys. That's a 100% hit rate, averaging over 100 likes per day over our last 3 days. So for you stat nerds out there, let's try to keep that hit streak going today. But Caesar's in the building. He says smash the like button. Appreciate you reminding all the fine folks out there watching. If you haven't hit the like button, it's something free. It's a low effort type of thing that you could do to help support the channel. You just hit that little thumbs up and it goes a long way to getting the message out, getting the the channel out there in the YouTube algorithm even further. John Badger also saying hit the like, y'all. It's free. Appreciate you, John. Everyday Fantasy says, what it do, fam? That's our guy, Don P in Discord. If you guys are in Patreon Discord, Don P always putting out some fire picks, some winning picks. Shout out to the chef and Patreon, one of the best places to be for sure. Hit them likes too. Hey, you flex, man. I got to flex back at you. Appreciate you, Mr. Don P. Blake's in the building, says, what up, everyone, and happy Thursday. Let's get to this money. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Love that. Hoof's in the building. Good morning to you. Ryan T. Shout out to Ryan T. Jared says, rapping on the beat. You know I'm crazy. Yeah, I'm from the East. I'm a Charlotte baby. Is that Duh Baby? It's the only rapper I could think of that might be from Charlotte. I seem to remember him wearing a Charlotte Hornets jersey at one point. Adrian says, no way the timer resetted itself. Yeah, I got magic tricks. David Blaine and this bitch. Britain's in the building. Good morning to you. Roy, shout out to you. Dante, welcome back, my friend. Mario says, good morning. Let's make some money. Hope you slept good. What did you end up getting for lunch yesterday? Good question. I think I just had something here at the house. Nothing special, man. I wish it was more exciting than that. Jared says, man, Conley messed up my 6 for 6. Yeah, Conley points at 10.5. He's just not a consistent scorer for the Utah Jazz. I know a lot of people were on it. He did end up hitting his fantasy score, though. He's kind of more, for me, a type of guy who does a little bit of everything. On a good night, he'll get you, 8 to 10 points. He'll get you a few rebounds. He'll get you, 6, 7 assists. He's good for swiping a couple of balls, maybe getting a block, So Mike Conley, for me, more of a fantasy type of guy. So maybe you consider playing his fantasy scores a little bit more. Colin's saying fantasy scores are so tough. They can be pretty brutal. They can be. Colin's going back to the well today with Vucevic. I think Vucevic against the Charlotte Hornets makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, and hopefully it makes a lot of dollars for you. How does Patreon work? Well, listen, Jose, it's just a way for you to kind of support the content that I put out here daily on YouTube. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't pay a whole lot, okay? I make maybe a few dollars every time that I go live here based off of like the views that I get. Just a little insight behind the scenes on how YouTube works. You don't get a whole lot unless you got a massive channel like a guy like Mr. Beast, he's really a beast when it comes to generating revenue from his YouTube channel. I'm a smaller channel, obviously. We're working on 8,000 subscribers. You get, maybe a few dollars. Like I said, if you get like 1,000 views or something, you might get a few bucks. So anyway, Patreon just goes a long way to help kind of support the content, support what I'm doing here. And I appreciate all you guys who are supporting. And we have a community with Discord, private Discord channels set up where we're talking about picks and stats and our favorite entries, and we're sharing information back and forth. It's just a little tight-knit community, family-friendly community. No egos, nobody putting each other down or anything like that. Positive type of experience. So a little different than the public official PrizePicks Discord. I know it can get kind of toxic in there at times. So if you're into that sort of thing, I mean, that's what we're about, man. That's what we're doing via Patreon. And then, I post some interesting findings, stats and picks and things like that, throughout the day, both in Discord and on Patreon each night. So that sounds like something you're into. If you want to be a part of a group of like-minded individuals, if you want to kind of help support the movement here, the things that I do for you guys for free on YouTube, Patreon's the move. Patreon's definitely the move. Anyway, let's see here. Bogdanovich. Oh. There you go. There's one. DeJounte Murray screwed me over. Yeah, I know a lot of people were liking DeJounte Murray for over 10.5. I think it was first half points. Some people were taking Murray over the points and rebounds prop. Unfortunately, Murray kind of took the night off. ALS Jets says, assist props looking good today for a lot of players. Cool. We'll talk about those. If you have questions and stuff like that, guys, just kind of hold off. We'll get to your questions. We'll have a little Q&A sesh in just a few minutes. Denham Banks is here. Shout out to you. Anthony Diaz says Walker Kessler cost me. Yeah, Walker Kessler's been kind of weird. There's a couple of big guys, Walker Kessler and Yusuf Nurkic. They both happened to be playing each other last night, but their minutes have been very weird, especially Yusuf Nurkic in the first half. First half was the safe way to play Nurkic. Now, I don't think that there is a safe way to play Yusuf Nurkic because he's not really a full game type of guy. Portland tends to kind of limit his minutes in the second half. They've been using a lot more Eubanks, so for me, Yusuf Nurkic is kind of toxic. I'm staying away from Nurkic from here on out. And then Kessler, I don't know what's going on with him. You figure with Kelly Olynyk being out, Walker Kessler should have a path to more minutes and more playing time, but they like to run some weird little lineups too. They'll put like Jared Vanderbilt out there at center sometimes with Markkanen and Beasley and Clarkson and Conley and Sexton's in the mix. So Utah's kind of weird too. I'm kind of avoiding both Walker Kessler and Yusuf Nurkic going forward. I just can't trust either one of them. Yeah, the baby is from Charlotte. I kind of thought so. I thought it was. Bruno, what's up? Thanks for being here. AOD, what's happening? What are the locks? Brother, it's the same that it's always been. You know how it is, man. Jada Kiss, Styles P, Sheik Luch. That's the locks for you. Chris says, thanks for the hard work. You're welcome. Little scraps like it's some Julius Randle. Yeah, we're going to talk some Julius Randle for sure. Brandon O says, what do you think of Jalen Duren? He could be in a good spot. We're waiting on Isaiah Stewart news. I think he is a game time decision. Brandon, shout out to you. Thanks for being here. Robert, holla if you hear me. Yob, Jay, good to see you here. Jordan, Luka over on the Suns. Well, that's why Luka got the thumbnail up today. So we'll talk about that. All right, let's go ahead and throw out today's two-pick power play winner. So I mentioned you guys want to be subscribers. Here's why you want to be a subscriber. I'm giving away a risk-free two-pick power play every single day for PrizePicks users. All you have to do, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and then once today's show ends, YouTube automatically posts a replay of the show that you're watching live right now. You go to the comment section, comment your favorite pick, prop, or play of the day, and you're automatically entered in to win one of these risk-free two-pick power plays on PrizePicks. Essentially, I add the free entry to your account. Once you get the free entry, you get both picks right, you win $100. It's that simple. So let's go ahead and give away one from yesterday's comment section. We had a total of 43 unique comments. Those have already been loaded here. You can kind of see that right up here at the top. Amount of unique comments were 43. So shout out to everybody who subscribed, liked, and the 43 of you that left a comment. Well, hopefully one of you guys end up winning one of these risk-free two-pick power plays. So all that's left to do now is hit the start button. It'll randomize and automatically pick somebody. Hopefully we don't have any repeat winners. I'm all right. Fun fact. Okay, I don't know what this is. Let's pick another winner. That guy left a whole story here. All right, there we go. Kevin Stevens. Kevin, I don't know if you're watching or not, but if you are watching, go ahead and do me a favor. Shoot me a DM. I need to get your PrizePicks email address from you so I can award that risk-free two-pick power play to your account. He was liking Draymond Green over rebounds and assists. That was the comment that he left. So congratulations. I think Draymond Green did cover his rebounds and assists and, of course, his rebounds. So, Kevin, you're the big winner today. That risk-free two-pick power play will be added to your PrizePicks account. Shoot me a DM on Twitter at Curry the Creator, or if you prefer Discord, I've got a Discord set up as well. Links to both are down in the description of today's video. But yeah, hit me up, give me your PrizePicks email address, and I'll get that risk-free two-pick power play added to your account ASAP. Usually takes a few days for those of you who are wondering. But all right, Larry Birdle. Let's figure out who today's mystery player of the day is. Of course, our thumbnail today is Luka Doncic, but of course, this Larry Birdle game never gives us any superstar players. They always throw some really off-the-wall, random type of players at us just to run it back and show you guys what I'm talking about. Gary Harris was our player yesterday. Max Strus, JaMychal Green, got Kyle Anderson, Isaiah Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Larry Nance, Jackson Hayes, Dominic Barlow. I mean, just a weird variety of different players. So I went ahead and used Luka Doncic as our first guest today. Luka, the closest thing that I've seen to Larry Bird in a long time, but it is not Luka Doncic, but this player does play in the Western Conference. It's not a Southwestern player though, which means it's going to rule out the Dallas Mavericks, Houston Rockets, Memphis Grizzlies, New Orleans Pelicans, and San Antonio Spurs. So it's not going to be a player from any of those teams, which leaves the Pacific and the Northwest Division. Not a forward/guard. We're looking for somebody taller than 6'7", so probably a big guy, a power forward or a center. And then this person's older than 23 years old. And the jersey number, Luka, of course, wears 77. Jersey number is going to be below 77. So there's going to be... let's see, a lot of different options that we could go with here. Somebody taller than 6'7", older than 23, jersey number is going to be below 77. I'm going to just throw one out there. And it's probably not this guy, but I'm going to go with Rudy Gobert and see how that works out for us. All right, gets us a little bit closer. So now we know that this player is not in the Northwest Division, which means it's got to be a Pacific Division player. So Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Suns, or Kings, right? And it is a center. we have confirmation, thanks to the Rudy Gobert guess, that this player does play center. 7'1", just a little bit too tall. We're probably looking at somebody who's 6'11" or 7 foot. Rudy Gobert's 30 years old. He's a little too old, so somebody between 23 and 30 years old. So not a spring chicken, not a veteran, but somebody who's been in the league maybe for a few years. And then the jersey number for Gobert at 27, not quite high enough. So somebody between 27 and 77 with the jersey number. So I'm going to throw another guess out there. Luka's 23, Gobert's 30. So we're looking for somebody kind of in between that, somebody from the Pacific Division. What about this dude? He plays tonight, Ivica Zubac. What about Ivica Zubac? Does he fit the bill? His jersey number, not quite sure, but let's go for it. Jersey number 40. All right, so Zubac, not a terrible guess here, but this player is in the Pacific Division like we assumed, so not going to be a Clipper. So that leaves the Warriors, Lakers, Suns, or Kings as options. Zubac is 25 years old, so that wasn't a terrible guess. Jersey number 40, still too high, though. Zubac is 7 feet. He's a little bit too tall, so this fellow is going to be about 6'11" in the Pacific Division. All right, let's go ahead and do something here. Let's reveal the silhouette to kind of speed things along. All right, here's your silhouette. Who do we think that is? It almost looks like Jonathan Isaac or somebody like from the Magic. He's got that big frohawk looking situation on top of his head. Who do we think that is? It's not Anthony Davis. No, not Şengün, not Bismack Biyombo. Not DeAndre Ayton. That's definitely not Ayton's hairstyle. I don't know who that is, man. Not Triple J. No, that's not Jaren Jackson Jr. No, that's not Jaren Jackson Jr.'s haircut. Come on. Not AD. No. Y'all are way off. Not Triple J. Definitely not. Thomas Bryant? I don't think that's Thomas Bryant's haircut. We're looking for somebody from Golden State. Oh, I think I know who this is. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm probably wrong. All right. I'm probably wrong, but I'm going to go with James Wiseman. No, not James Wiseman. Not a Golden State Warriors player. Thomas Bryant. That's not Thomas Bryant's haircut. Come on. If that's Thomas Bryant, I owe you an apology. All right. It's not like I thought. Like I said. All right, but it is a Los Angeles Lakers, so we can confirm that. That is not Anthony Davis either. So it's a Los Angeles Laker player. We have gotten that far, who plays center. So who you got? Wenyen Gabriel? You guys are saying Damian Jones? Damian Jones? It's probably somebody like a Damian Jones. How do you spell his name? Oh, Damian, Damian Jones. Boom, there it is. Shout out to all the Damian Jones backers out there. Everybody who guessed Damian Jones, you are correct. It is Damian Jones. What is he, like the third string center? You got Thomas Bryant, freaking Wenyen Gabriel. Damian Jones has got to be buried on the bench somewhere. But yes, he does play center, 6'11", 27 years old, and he's rocking jersey number 30. So we got there. It took us 6 guesses. But mission accomplished. So shout out to everybody who was guessing Damian Jones. You know your NBA, my friends. You know your NBA. All right, gang. Games start tonight at 7:30 p.m. So a special tip-off time, not 7 o'clock Eastern time like we're used to. 7:30 p.m. tip-off. So you get 30 extra minutes to do some research. 30 extra minutes to go ahead and place your entries, which I like. I like having that little extra 30-minute cushion. The first game of the night starts off with the New York Knicks taking on the Boston Celtics. As far as injury news goes, we know Mitchell Robinson's still out for the New York Knicks. We've been seeing more Jericho Sims lately, more Isaiah Hartenstein coming off of the bench. Evan Fournier is considered a game-time decision. Fournier, once upon a time, a member of the Boston Celtics. I remember a game last season against Boston where Fournier just went absolutely bonkers against Boston. I think that was from last season, but it was kind of like one of those revenge game type of scenarios, right? Fournier, former Celtic, didn't really work out there, but I seem to remember Fournier just going crazy against the Celtics in one game last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. For the Boston Celtics, We know that they've been missing a lot of players recently, but they're getting most of their guys back. Pretty much everybody except for Marcus Smart will be active for tonight's game. So expect a starting lineup to look something like Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, and Robert Williams. They may go Twin Towers tonight. So that's a 223-point game with an 8.5-point spread. Moving on to the next game, 7:30 tip-off between the Detroit Pistons and your Brooklyn Nets. Isaiah Livers, game time decision. Isaiah Stewart, game time decision. So both of these guys, GTDs. Obviously, if Beef Stew plays, well, that would probably impact Jalen Duren and his ability to grab rebounds and score points and do all the things. Marvin Bagley's out. Corey Joseph is out. And then for the Brooklyn Nets, Kevin Durant's still out. Sharp is a game time decision, which he's not really an impactful player anyway. But this one's got a total of 232.5 points with a 7.5-point spread. So one of the higher totals tonight at 232.5. Moving on to 7:30, we got Chicago at Charlotte. Some definite injury news that we need to stay on top of here. Obviously, Lonzo Ball is out. Goran Dragic out. Green is also out. For the Charlotte Hornets, though, the big ones are going to be LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward. Now, LaMelo Ball historically has had some very good games against the Chicago Bulls. So if LaMelo Ball ends up playing tonight, I'm definitely interested in some LaMelo Ball. For me, it would probably be either his three-point makes or his fantasy score. He tends to do well in both of those categories, if memory serves me correct, when he faces off against the Chicago Bulls. Outside of that, you got Martin and Oubre still out for Charlotte. So this one has a total of 234.5 points, 6-point spread right now. So you're going to see a lot of these games tonight. Not a lot of them have like a tight spread, 5 points or less on the spread. A lot of them are right there in the middle of like 6 to 7 to 8 points. So maybe some blowout potential. Hopefully these games stay close and competitive. But as always, what's great about PrizePicks is that if you think the game is going to blow out, guys, check into and research first half only props. There's nothing wrong with going first half only. That is sometimes the better way to go. Some of these players perform better in the first half than they do over the course of an entire game. So if you're looking for an edge or an advantage, definitely spend some time looking at the first half props. But that's a good alternative if you think a game is going to blow out. Play first half only. And then you don't have to worry about those blowouts as much. 8 o'clock brings us the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Houston Rockets. Houston's on a back-to-back. Obviously, they played Washington last night. This game's got a total of 221.5 with an 8.5-point spread. Donovan Mitchell's going to be the big question mark here. His status is currently unknown. Game time decision. Windler is out. And then over on the flip side, Kevin Porter Jr. still out for the Houston Rockets. I just want to point out, Alperen Şengün is balling lately, y'all. Şengün, I know a lot of you guys were looking for Şengün's assists yesterday. I don't know what the line was set at because PrizePicks didn't give it to us, but 5.5, heck, even 6.5 may be too low for Şengün the way that he's been playing, especially with Kevin Porter Jr. out of the lineup. I ended up putting Alperen Şengün in one of my entries for points plus assists, and he absolutely crushed it. He hit the points plus assists. So that's a good alternative. If you guys are looking for Şengün assists and you can't find it, look for points and assists for him. He's been getting the job done. I think he's hit now in like 5 straight games, especially without Kevin Porter Jr. in the lineup. They're kind of running their offense through him, much like you see Sacramento run their offense through Domantas Sabonis, much like you see the Denver Nuggets run their offense through Nikola Jokic. So this looks like maybe the next great big man who can pass the ball and rebound and score, right? He looks like he's going to be joining the ranks of Jokic and Sabonis before too long. But game total here is 221.5. Cleveland is an 8.5-point favorite. I wouldn't be surprised if Houston gets blown out. I know they're playing at home, but it is a back-to-back for them. And honestly, they're not talented enough really to hang with Cleveland. But it's the NBA, and of course, anything can happen on any given night. Which brings us to the next game. Tips off at 10 o'clock. Dallas versus Phoenix. We've seen these two teams lock horns a lot over the last couple of years, especially in the playoffs. What was that, last season or 2 seasons ago? Crazy though, how many times that these teams have played here recently. So we're going to have a lot of games between these two, a good game sample size here. So Christian Wood says he's a game time decision. I kind of think he's going to sit out tonight. He's had a fractured thumb. Something's going on with his thumb. Maxi Kleber's still dealing with a hamstring. He's going to be out. So it's going to be Dwight Powell most likely starting at center once again for Dallas. And then on the Phoenix side, it looks like DeAndre Ayton's going to be a green light go for them. They're going to need him tonight. And I think if he's in the lineup, he's going to probably be in a really good spot and a really favorable matchup here against Dwight Powell. I just don't see how DeAndre Ayton doesn't have his way with Dwight Powell. Devin Booker is still out. Jay Crowder's name continues to pop up in different trade scenarios. So it sounds like Jay Crowder is going to find himself on a new team before the trade deadline is up. Cam Payne is out and Landry Shamet also out. Now this one's got a nice spread here of just 1.5 points. They expect this one to stay close and competitive. 221.5 here. I expect Luka Doncic to pick up where he left off the last time that he played Phoenix. So should be a good game for Luka. I like a lot of Luka tonight. And then last but not least, San Antonio versus LAC, the Los Angeles Clippers. We saw these teams play not that long ago, and Kawhi Leonard against his former team obviously had himself a fantastic game. I think he dropped like 33 points against the Spurs. The only thing that concerns me here is that it is a 12.5 point spread. So remember what I said about first half only plays? This is one of those games where you might want to target some first half only options. Now, the last time we saw these two teams meet, we saw Jakob Poeltl and Ivica Zubac just go at each other's throats. These two European big guys, they were going at it, man. So maybe we go first half only on some Poeltl and some Zubac as they look to run it back again tonight. As far as injuries go, Devin Vassell still out for San Antonio. Hate to see that. Romeo Langford's a game time decision. For the Clippers, John Wall is out. He's been dealing with some sort of abdominal injury. Then you got Marcus Morris Sr., who is a game time decision tonight, and Luke Kennard, also a game time decision for the Clippers. So that's the rundown there. Love the total at 233. Don't love the fact that it's projecting to be a blowout at 12.5. So that's it, man. That's your games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games tonight. So let's go ahead and break out the PrizePicks board here. Guys, if you have questions on player props, I'm here to help. That's what this show's all about. I'm trying to do a service, a public service to those of you who are playing on PrizePicks and to those of you who are playing player props on any other site outside of PrizePicks. Of course, I wish you were playing on PrizePicks. So if you're not, definitely get signed up. Again, code Curry, 100% instant deposit match. Take advantage of that. If you guys are not playing on PrizePicks, maybe you're hearing about PrizePicks for the first time. Well, here's your foray into to PrizePicks. So, all right, let's go ahead and take a peek at some of the comments and questions, guys. If you have them, leave them in the chat for me. Of course, I'm not going to get to everybody's question. There's this little problem where there's more of you than there are me. More questions, more people asking questions than people that can answer them, meaning I'm doing this all by myself here, running the show, trying to answer your questions, doing your player prop research. So if I don't get to your questions, guys, I want to tell you right now, it's nothing personal. I love you all the same. You're all equal to me. But those who leave super chats, of course, will always take precedence and priority over anyone else. Anyone who's willing to reach into their pocket, support the channel via super chat, and leave a super chat for me, I got to take care of those people, right? It's like somebody, if you were a business owner, they walked into your store and they want to buy something from you. You're going to help the person that's willing to spend money with you, right? Before the person who's just browsing, right? You kind of have to prioritize. That's the same thing with Super Chat. Those of you who are supporting the channel, guys, I'm going to take care of you. Your comment will be highlighted in the live chat for the world to see. And then I'll do a deep dive analysis. We'll dig into the research and do the live research together here on the channel. So that's what you get when you leave a super chat. So I appreciate everybody. All right, swig of water for me, and I'll start knocking out some of your questions here. Josh Long says, I found you yesterday, placed a pick off of your analysis at $150. Well, that's a great start, Josh. Congratulations to you. Blake's saying Kyrie's balling like crazy right now. Yeah, Kyrie's definitely been hooping. Tony says, I'm taking Jaylen Brown over 26.5 points and Julius Randle over 15.5 rebounds and assists. Jaylen Brown making his return. We got Julius Randle's rebounds and assists. Okay. Let's look at a couple of these because there was There was somebody that mentioned something about some Julius Randle turnovers in our private Discord, so that's one to definitely take a look at. But you're mentioning Jaylen Brown's points. He's sitting at 26.5. He's playing against the New York Knicks today. Jaylen Brown did not play in the last game, which was against Miami. They gave him the night off against the Heat after playing against the Orlando Magic without Jason Tatum. So kind of working these guys, these two stars, Brown and Tatum, in and out, trying to keep both of these guys fresh as we approach the All-Star break. So let's take a look at Jaylen Brown. We'll get things started with him. Obviously, he's probably the second best player on the Boston Celtics, right? Not Jalen Brunson, Jaylen Brown. And we're using Props.Cash. If you guys are wondering what this site is that we use for player prop research, it's called Props.Cash. They pretty much have baked in anything you want to know about a player and their performance, their game logs, their hit rates, what happens when certain players are on or off the floor. They pretty much give it all to you right here for just $19.99 a month. So if you're not using Props.Cash yet, code Curry gets you a 25% discount on your first month. Can't really beat that at just $19.99 a month. But anyway, here we go. Jaylen Brown averaging 26.9 points per game. He's 21 for 43 this season, 49% hit rate. So he's almost a coin flip, right? But I will say this. He's been, over the last 10 games or so, really starting to pick up his scoring pace. He's hit this in 6 out of his last 10. Let's go to the last 30 game view. He's hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of his last 10, 11, 12, 13. So 9 out of his last 13 games, he's cleared 26.5 points. He's actually 50% over his last 30 games. So you're starting to see some of this hit rate stuff for Jaylen Brown go up. He has played the New York Knicks once already, dropped 30 points on them in Madison Square Garden. So he did have a great performance there. 30 points. He needs just 27 tonight if you're thinking about taking the over. So this could be another good spot for Jaylen Brown. Now, he's going to be playing at home tonight. And one thing that we've been kind of paying more attention to is how a player performs at home versus how he plays on the road. So let's do that real quick. 26.9 is his points per game average this season. He averages 28.2 points per game when he plays in front of the Boston Celtics fans. 28.2. When he's on the road, 25.4. Guys, that's almost a 3-point swing. That's a huge difference. 3 points higher, more per game when he plays at home versus away. I think we're catching Jaylen Brown tonight in a good spot playing in front of the Boston fans. He's hit this now in his last 5 of 7. Last 5 out of 7 games, he's gone over 26.5 points at home. So definitely looking like a pretty good situation here for Jaylen Brown. Let's take a look at the DVP real quick. Last 7 games. DVP, defense versus position. This will give us just a quick idea of how the New York Knicks have performed against opposing shooting guards over their last 7 games. So smaller sample size kind of gives you an idea of recent performance. Are the Knicks defending better, worse in the last 7 games versus for the season? Well, I can tell you this. Against shooting guards in their last 7 games, very healthy number here, 26.5 points per game, which puts them as the 6th highest point per game average to the shooting guard position. So the 6th most points allowed is something worth considering here. That's very good, right? There's only 5 teams allowing more points to the position on a per game average in the last 7 games. Let's also look at the season averages. Why not? While we're here, let's see if they're going up or going down. Well, New York for the season, decent job defending. You can see that they're averaging just 22.4 points per game for the season. But in the last 7, they've really started to give it up to opposing shooting guards. So they're defending worse in their last 7 games versus how they've done holistically for the season. So not only are you catching Jaylen Brown in a positive split spot here playing at home in front of the Boston fans, but you're also catching them against a New York Knicks team who has not been guarding shooting guards very well, allowing over 26 points per game. So I think all that looks really good and swell. Let's get you a projection here for Jaylen Brown real quick. I got Jaylen Brown projected for 25 points. That's close to the 26.5, 27 mark that we need. But right now, he is a betting favorite to go under on this number. Minus 120 odds to go under 26.5. So there's a lot going well for Jaylen Brown. There's a lot in favor of him hitting at least 27 points tonight. But for whatever reason, the betting public doesn't seem to like it. Maybe they think R.J. Barrett and or Quentin Grimes, two pretty good defenders, maybe they think that those guys are going to give Jaylen Brown problems. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure why they're betting the under, but there you have it. He's projected to go under. Maybe they're seeing a projection for the under, and so they're taking the under. But yeah, you're seeing Jaylen Brown minus 120 odds to go under 26.5 points, even though he seems to have a lot of good going for him, right? So there you go. Let's see here. We got a couple of super chats coming in. Oop, don't kill the microphone. Sheesh. Got a couple of super chats coming in. I want to make sure that we address those. Blaine. Wow. Carson again. And we got Everyday Fantasy coming through with a big super chat as well. So let's address these super chats real quick. Starting with Carson. He's asking about Jason Tatum's assists and Zach LaVine's rebounds and assists and Chris Paul's assists. All right. So he's wanting to go pretty assist heavy here. Let's go and build out our grocery list, our shopping list. Starting with Jason Tatum, you mentioned his assists, which are sitting at 5 right now. Then you also mentioned Zach LaVine, rebounds and assists, I think was what you had talked about. Let's go find Zach LaVine. His rebounds and assists today are sitting at 8.5. All right. And then your last one was CP3 and his assists, which are at 9 today. He's going up against the Dallas Mavericks. And I'm assuming, my friend, that you're wanting to go over, or more in this case, right? You're wanting to go more on all of these. You didn't specify, but I have a feeling that you're probably wanting to take the over or more on all of these. So let's pop this open real quick. Jason Tatum at 5 assists. We talked about the Celtics being much healthier tonight than they have been in the last couple of games. So that's definitely something to consider. Obviously, Marcus Smart's not going to be in there. You'll probably see some Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon filling in that point guard spot in absence of Marcus Smart. So let's go take a look real quick at Jason Tatum here. His assist line is sitting at 5 on PrizePicks, which leads me to believe that they have probably either bumped this up from 4.5 or bumped it down from 5.5. But nonetheless, I'm going to bump this down here on props.cash to 4.5 so that we can get an idea at how he's performed this season at least 5 assists. Because if you're thinking about taking the over, you want to make sure he's hitting 5 or more, right? You don't want him to hit 4. You want 5 or more out of the guy. So he's 22 for 46 at 5 or better. That's a 48% hit rate. Now that does not look sexy. It does not look sexy until you go and look at the last 10 games or so, right? In his last 10 games, he's reached 5 assists or more in 8 out of 10, including 6 games in a row now, 6 games straight where he's had at least 5 dimes. So 8 for 10 at 5 or better. That's an 80% hit rate. But of course, we don't play for the push, right? We want to make sure that he's going to be able to clear 5 assists, not just stop at 5. So in the last 10 games, he's still 6 for 10 at 6 or more assists, which is good. And he's cleared this number in 3 straight games, and he's hit the over in 4 out of his last 5. So still an 80% hit rate over his last 5. And then you got a 100% hit rate in his last 3 games. Now, he has already played the New York Knicks once this season. In that game, he had himself 5 dimes. So that would obviously put him in a tie or push situation here. We can also flash back to last season, games against New York. 1 for 4 against New York last season. Did have a big game with 9 assists. Overall, when you combine last season's games with this season, 2 for 5. You're talking about a 40% hit rate and an assist per game average of 4.2. Now, we've talked about splits situations. Tonight, Jason Tatum's going to be at home. So how many assists does he average at home versus away? Well, 4.4 for the season, averaging 4 assists when he plays at home. That's going to be no bueno, right? Which leads me to believe he's getting more assists when he's on the road. We'll look at the road splits in just a minute, but he's 8 for 21 this season with 5 or more assists when playing at home. Again, 5 is what you want to at least hit. Obviously, we want to go for 6 or more. He's only hit 6 or more assists in 3 out of 21 games at home this season. That's a 14% hit rate. So if you're looking for 6 or more, might be asking for a lot. Jason Tatum doesn't seem to be that guy who's getting 6 or more assists on the reg at Boston. So also looking at the number here at 5 assists on the road, you can see 4.8 assists per game average when he plays away from Boston. So he's dropping more dimes on the road for whatever reason than he is at home. 14 for 25 this season, 56% hit rate, including 5 straight games on the road. Also 6, 7, 8 out of his last 10 on the road, he's hit at least 5 or more dimes. So more assists per game typically when he plays on the road than he does at home. Now, one other thing that we have to consider is that Marcus Smart's not playing tonight. So his average this season, Jason Tatum, 4.4. What happens when Marcus Smart is not in the game? Well, we could go ahead and take a look at that. His average, this is a combination of games from last season and this season. It jumps from 4.4 per game to 5.4 per game. So he does see an uptick in his assist numbers from 4.4 to 5.4. That's 1 whole assist. That's a pretty big jump there. And if we dial this down to 4.5, he's hit 5 or more assists in 12 out of his last 20 games without Marcus Smart. He's 3 for 6 this season. I'm sorry, I take that back. He's 5 for 8 this season without Marcus Smart. 5 for 8 this season without Smart. But if we go back to last season, you can see how many times he really crushed this toward the end of the year without Smart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he's 11 of his last 13. Now I want to also preface this by saying these games here, these 6 games without Smart, where he hit 6 straight games without Smart, that was without Malcolm Brogdon. And of course, Malcolm Brogdon's going to be healthy, active, and out there tonight for Boston. But nonetheless, just kind of focusing on this season, he's hit 7 or more dimes in 5 out of 8 games without Marcus Smart. Another thing you could do here is take it a step further. Games played at home without Marcus Smart. How many times has he hit this season? He's 1 for 3 at home without Marcus Smart. And we take a look at last season's games, 5 for 10. Combining last season with this season, 5 for 10, 50% games played without Smart at home. So line looks like it was at 5.5 out on your favorite sports books. There's a reason why PrizePicks has bumped this. At 5.5 dimes, it seemed like it was just a little too high. So PrizePicks went ahead and knocked it down, chopped it down to 5. And you can see why here. Minus 145, minus 130, even minus 150 odds to go under at 5.5. So Carson, you might find yourself in a tie or push situation here with Jason Tatum at 5 assists, but now you've got more information. You can feel a little bit more informed before you go ahead and choose whether you're going to take the over, under, more, less, or just walk away from it and fade it. That's always an option too. All right, Zach LaVine was your other pick. You're asking about LaVine's 8.5 rebounds and assists. LaVine taking on the Charlotte Hornets tonight. I'm guessing you don't have a lot of faith in Zach LaVine to get buckets tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. Maybe that's why you're just going with rebounds and assists. That doesn't require him to put the ball in the hoop. So maybe that's the best way to go with Zach LaVine. Let's take a look at it. His rebounds and assists today, sitting at 8.5. Should be a pretty fun game here. Chicago Bulls, Charlotte Hornets. Zach LaVine for the season at 8.5 rebounds and assists, 23 for 43. That's more than a coin flip, 53% hit rate. The last 10 to 15 games or so, you see a lot of inconsistencies here, right? You'll see a cluster of green, and then you'll see a couple of reds mixed in. So some hits and some misses over the last 10 to 15 games or so. Let's go and look at the last 30. Last 30 games, 17 for 30, 57% hit rate. Last 10 games, 6 for 10, 60% hit rate. And then the last 5 games, 3 for 5, also rocking that 60% hit rate. He's played the Charlotte Hornets once this season. My man rang up 10 dimes. 10 dimes. Wow. Big game for him there. Let's flash back to last season. Whew. Guys. Wow. 10 rebounds and assists this season. You go back to last season, 11 rebounds and assists, 11 rebounds and assists, and 11 rebounds and assists. So overall, the last 4 times that he's played the Charlotte Hornets, my man has went 4 for 4, 100%, while averaging 10.8 rebounds and assists against them. So hey, the Hornets bring out the best in Zach LaVine when it comes to rebounds and assists. This looks really good so far. I mean, 4 green bars in his last 4 matchups against the Charlotte Hornets. You can't really be too mad at that. All right, as we do, we're going to look at the split situation. He's playing on the road tonight, 8.8 on the season, 8.3 at home, which means on the road, he's going to be averaging probably around 9 or more. Yep, 9.4 rebounds and assists when he plays on the road. So you're catching him in a great matchup against Charlotte, a matchup that he's absolutely covered 4 out of 4. Dating back to last season. And then you're catching him on the road tonight where he's been rebounding and assisting better at 9.4 per game. That's good for a 13 out of 20 hit rate. 13 out of 20. 65%. 65%. But as I mentioned, the last 10 road games or so, it's been a little bit up and down here. Hopefully tonight is more of an up game. You can see that not too often that he goes under in back-to-back road games, right? He'll go under here with 7, hit in the next 2, under in this one, comes back with 12, under in this one, comes back with 13. A little bit of a pattern, all right? I'm sensing and seeing just a little bit of a pattern here with Zach LaVine. He typically doesn't have 2 bad games in a row. I mean, he has done that, but it's few and far between. It's not often that he has 2 bad rebound and assist games. Anyway, things looking pretty good here for Zach LaVine so far. So let's jump ahead. Let's get you that projection and that rebound assist category that you want to see. Healthy projection here, guys. 10.1 rebounds and assists for Zach LaVine. That puts him as a minus 130 betting favorite, minus 132, even minus 135. So yeah, I think I like this Zach LaVine rebounds and assists. Guys, let me know. Are you guys liking this rebound and assist prop here for Zach LaVine? Roy says he's going with it. He's locked in on LaVine. Ryan T says, skip LaVine for me. You just did it. Okay, I'll skip LaVine. Are we liking this, though? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, Pop Juice Smoke World. What a name, by the way. Pop Juice Smoke World. We definitely looked at that what happens without Marcus Smart situation. But so far, I'm liking this Zach LaVine play a little bit better than I'm liking the Jason Tatum play. But I think both of them are probably worth playing tonight, Which brings us to the last one, CP3 going up against Dallas. We should have lots of game logs to dig into with Chris Paul here. The last 2 games, 11 and 11 from the point god himself, Mr. Chris Paul, going up against Dallas tonight. So let's go take a look and see what Chris Paul has done here lately this season. And we'll look at the previous matchups, et cetera, et cetera. You know how we do. If you guys are liking the analysis, if you guys are liking the research, guys, subscribe. I do this every day, Monday through Friday. Usually we're good for about an hour to 2 on the stream. Sometimes it goes for 3.5 hours. You just never know what you're going to get here on the show. But we're digging into these player props. We're doing the research for you guys, hopefully helping more and more of you cash by doing some hands-on, rolling up our sleeves and digging in. But anyway, Chris Paul's going to be at 9 assists today. He has hit 9 or more assists in 15 out of 28. 15 out of 28 games. That's a 54% hit rate. Just 8.6 assists per game this season. His last 10 games, he has gone for 7.7. The last 5 games, 6.6 assists per game. But we mentioned already that the last 2, he's really started to pop back up here, dropping 11 dimes in back-to-back games. So definitely some inconsistencies here for Chris Paul throughout the course of most of the season. I mean, he started off the season really hot, dropping 9 or more dimes in 8 straight games. But ever since then, he's had some injuries, been in and out of the lineup. The complementary players, the players that are around him, not going to have Devin Booker. So I don't know. It's been kind of a shaky year for Chris Paul and for the Phoenix Suns in general. So we'll have to see how things play out tonight. But as we mentioned, he's got a lot of previous games against the Dallas Mavericks for us to kind of analyze and look at here. So he's played Dallas 11 times between this season and last. So 10 of those games were from last season. He's only played Dallas once this season, and it was at the start of the season. So let's go back and look at a lot of these games. Of course, they had that playoff series from last season. He started off the regular season really strong here, 14, 14, and 11 dimes. That playoff series, though, Chris Paul, not the best playoff series. 3 assists 8 assists, 4 assists, 7 assists. He did have 10 in one game against Dallas, but then 4 and 4. Did not play his best basketball. If you guys remember that series against Dallas, did not play his best ball. Couldn't even drop a dime, was barely getting buckets. I mean, Chris Paul just looked washed. But this season, he is 1 for 1. He had 9 assists versus Dallas in that one. So I'm kind of on the fence with this one. Just based on what we've seen so far, I'm not loving it. But Chris Paul will have more of a better supporting cast today than he's had in recent games. So we've seen him drop 11 in back-to-back. Who's to say he can't do that again? You know what I mean? So let's look at the split situation. He's going to be at home tonight, 8.6 on the season, 8.4 at home. Not dropping too many dimes when he's playing in front of the Suns fans, which means he's hit 9 or more in 9 out of 15. That is a 60% hit rate. But if you look at the last 10 games or so played at home, it's not so great here. 4 for 10, 40%. But he does have back-to-back 11 assist games. So, it is what it is. So that's your kind of your breakdown here for CP3. Let's move ahead. Let's get you a projection. And then I got Chris Paul projected for 9 assists, which is exactly where he's at on PrizePicks, guys, at 9. If you look at him on the different sports books, they have him at 9.5. We're seeing some betting juice coming in on the under, so PrizePicks bumped him down. So minus 135 all the way up to minus 140 on certain sports books. So I don't know. I'm probably going to leave this one alone because it's one of those situations where, Chris Paul could go for 10, 11 assists. But you've seen how he's performed against Dallas, looking at that playoff series from last year, and he could also go for 5 assists, 6 assists. So for me, I'm just going to fade it. So the order that I would probably rank these, it would probably be Zach LaVine, my favorite play out of the 3 that you mentioned here. I'd probably go Zach LaVine, Jason Tatum, and then I'd put Chris Paul last. The only 2 that are probably going to be playable for me would be LaVine and Tatum. But again, I'm not here to talk you off of anything. I'm not here to tell you, don't play that. If you feel good about it, hey, trust and believe in your research. Maybe you know something or see something that we haven't talked about or discovered here looking at this prop together. So go ahead and, play it if you want to play it. Maybe do so sparingly. Don't have it in all your entries. Don't put it in a power play. Chris Paul for me at 9 assists, probably just more of a flex play. One that you're kind of not sure about. You could put it in a flex. If he misses, you still end up making some money. So that's how I would attack it. So, all right. LaVine over rebounds and assists looking very good though. I like that. Thanks for bringing that one to the show, my friend. And thank you again for the super chat. Blaine Billington coming through with a super chat. He says, what do you think about White over PRA? Is that Kobe White? Is that Derek White? Let's look. Let's see who we have up on the board. We got Derek White. All right, so it's probably Derek White. You're asking about his PRA. That could be an option. I've played some Derek White rebounds without Marcus Smart, and that's worked out for me. Maybe rebounds and assists, but we'll also look at the PRA. You got to remember, if you're basing this off of what Derek White did in the last game, it was just basically him and Tatum. And around him, they had Peyton Pritchard, they had Grant Williams, Robert Williams. So it was really Tatum is obviously the clear front runner, best option for the Celtics. But then you had Derek White, who was your next best option. So if you're basing what you're seeing from his PRA in that last game against Miami, you might want to bring your expectations down a little bit because they're going to have Brogdon back, Brown back, Horford back. So they're going to be a lot healthier tonight than they were against the Miami Heat. But we'll look at it for you, definitely. So you got White over PRA is one option. Sounds like you're also looking into some Mikal Bridges over rebounds. Let's go pull that one up. Again, we're expecting DeAndre Ayton to play tonight, so I don't know if that's going to be sweet or sour for a guy like Mikal Bridges and his rebound potential. Jason Tatum over points. Horford over points. Let's go pull Tatum up over points. We talked about Brown over points. That kind of looked like a decent play, had a lot of positive going for it, but the betting public seems to disagree. They're not taking the over on Brown tonight. So you're looking to go Tatum points, Horford over points. Let's see, where's Horford at? His points are sitting at 8.5. Man, that just seems very doable, doesn't it? And then Zach LaVine over rebounds and assists. We already talked about that one. So Blaine, hopefully you're liking the Zach LaVine rebounds and assist play. And then you're going to go Luka over points. Luka, how can you be mad at taking Luka Doncic over points against the Phoenix Suns? So we got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks here to take a look at. Let's buzz through them real quick so that we can get to as many of your questions as possible. We got Derek White at 18.5 PRA. As we talked about, Boston's going to be healthier tonight. The only player that they're really going to be missing is going to be Marcus Smart. No Smart tonight for Boston. He's continuing to sit with that ankle issue. Let's refresh the situation here and look at this game. New York, Boston, total 223. Not the greatest total in the world. 8.5 point spread. They expect Boston to win this game from what it looks like. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, so to speak, but they do have Boston as 8.5 point favorites. So that's pretty big news. So let's go look at Derek White. Derek White, New York versus Boston. White did crush his PRA in that last game, but you kind of expected it, right? With so many players out for the Celtics. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Marcus Smart out and just focus on games Derek White's played without Marcus Smart. You're going to see a lot of green in here. Ignore all that. That was from last season. A lot of those games were when Derek White was still with the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, that trade didn't come till after February. So I believe he was... All right, these games were games where he was with Boston. These were from May, so that was post-trade deadline. So you could definitely take a look at those. Let's see, last 30. That doesn't really help me because it doesn't tell me what the dates are when you have 30 games pulled up. All right, let's just look at the last 10 then. Last 10 games, more importantly, last 8 games, which are all from this regular season. He's hit the over on his PRA without Marcus Smart in 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 8. So he's 50%. So we're not seeing a significant edge here for a guy at 18.5 PRA without Smart. 50% hit rate, right? Coin flip type of situation. Maybe there's better props here, though, for Derek White. Let's pull up some of his other ones. If we're not liking the PRA so much, maybe like the rebounds and assists are hitting at a better rate. There you go. Hey, now we're talking. Look at his rebounds and assists without Marcus Smart. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games without Smart. He's hit the R plus A, the rebounds plus assists, in 6 out of 8 games without Marcus Smart. What are we thinking about that? I think 6 out of 8 sounds a lot better than 4 out of 8, right? So he's been clearing the rebounds and assists number at a higher clip without Smart than he has his PRA. So that's something worth considering. Maybe we go rebounds and assists for Derek White. What about just the assists on their own? He's had at least 4 assists in 5 out of 8. So that's not quite as good of a hit rate this season as his rebounds and assists. And then we can look at some of these other categories as well, like points at 11.5. He's hit this in just 3 out of 8 this season without Smart. 3-point makes are even on the board. We can look at those. Just 4 out of 8, 50%. Points and rebounds, maybe that's a good one. Let's look at that one. Points and rebounds, 4 out of 8. Points and assists, going to also be 3 out of 8. So, I mean, for me, as far as the one with the best success rate without Marcus Smart, it would have to be the rebounds and assists. So I would probably say consider that one. He's hitting 5 straight games this season without Smart, posting 9, 9, 10, 8, 9. Might be a little bit of a sweat. But hey, you're gonna get your entertainment worth out of here, playing the over on Derek White's 7.8 rebounds and assists. It could be a sweat though. I mean, he doesn't blow this number out of the water typically. 8, 9, 9, 10, 9. So, but I mean, for my money, I think that one looks like the best one so far. New York. He's played New York once. I'm going to assume that everybody was probably fully healthy for this game. Derek White, only 4 rebounds and assists. That was back in November. So he'll play a little bit more minutes, play a bigger role, obviously, without Marcus Smart being out there. So I'm going to kind of steer you toward the rebounds and assists instead of the PRA for Derek White. His projection is 8, which is more than 7.5. And we're getting some positive juice here. Minus 120, minus 122 betting favorite to go over 7.5. So with Brown and Tatum back, White's not going to have as much opportunities to score the ball as he did against Miami. So you got to kind of factor that in. He's probably like third on the pecking order when it comes to shots, maybe even fourth if you consider Malcolm Brogdon off the bench. But for me, this doesn't require him to make any buckets to score at all. This is just all about effort and hopefully his teammates knocking down shots, Brown and Tatum. So for me, I'd probably go rebounds and assists. What are you guys thinking? Derek White, rebounds and assists. I like that one better than the PRA. So that would be a more play for me. That one's looking pretty solid. 6 out of 8 this season without Marcus Smart, including 5 straight. So Mikal Bridges, rebounds. You're asking about some Mikal Bridges of the Phoenix Suns. Of course, DeAndre Ayton's expected to play tonight. He's going to be their primary rebounding threat or option. Mikal Bridges has hit 4 or more rebounds in 3 out of 5 games recently. So let's go to that game, Dallas versus Phoenix. We'll go rebounds. And thanks to props.cash, we'll be able to take a look at what Bridges has done here at 3.5 boards on props.cash. He's hit 4 or more boards in 31 out of 49 games. That's a 63% hit rate. And more recently, we've seen him really start to pick up the rebounding pace. 7 out of his last 10 with 4 or more boards. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of his last 14 with 4 or more boards. But of course, if you take a prop like this and you take the over, you're wanting him to get 5. We don't want to tie. We don't want to push. Nobody wins in that situation when you tie or push. So we're looking for at least 5 rebounds. Now that's been a little harder for him to do. He's only had 5 or more boards in 9 out of 30 games. So if you're taking this prop, you're hoping for 5. It's not impossible, but it's not something that he's done a whole lot here. 9 out of 30 this season, just a 30% hit rate. All right. Now, he has played Dallas this season twice. It's been kind of feast or famine for him. The first game against Dallas, which was at the start of the season, 11 big rebounds in that game. But more recently, December 5th, he ran it back against the Mavericks and only had 2 rebounds. So 11 boards in one game, 2 rebounds in the next. So you just don't know with this guy, right? You just don't know. Now, we can also take a quick flashback to last season. Obviously, these are mostly playoff games. He hit 4 or more rebounds against the Dallas Mavericks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10 games last season. 8 out of 10. Most of those, again, were playoff games. Of course, we need him to get at least 5 tonight. He hit 5 or more rebounds in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 10. So he's a 50% hitter at 5 or more boards, which kind of lines up with what he's done this season. 50% as well this season, 1 for 2. So overall, 6 out of his last 12 games played against Dallas, he's found at least 5 rebounds, which is what you're hoping for. All right. So with all that being known, let's go ahead and get you a projection. Bridges is projected for 4.1 boards. He's at 4 today. He's at 3.5 on these sports books, but huge betting favorite to go over. We're talking minus 150, minus 155 betting favorite at 3.5. So they feel pretty good about him getting 4 boards. What they don't feel good about is him finding 5 boards. And why I say that is because his line at 4.5 rebounds, huge juice on the under. Minus 154, minus 140 on some of these books. So don't be surprised if he lands on 4 rebounds tonight. I'm just saying, this looks like one of those ones that's setting up for a tie or a push. So if you're into that sort of thing, I guess go for it. Jason Tatum's points is the next one that you have on your shopping list here, your player prop shopping list. So let's go take a look at that one. He's at 30.5. He's cleared this in 4 out of his last 5. We talked Jaylen Brown points. For whatever reason, he's a betting favorite to go under. But Jason Tatum's another guy for the Boston Celtics, obviously, who tends to do better at home, if memory serves me right. I think he's typically a better scorer when he's playing in Boston versus when he's playing elsewhere. But for the season, 24 for 46, so he's got the higher hit rate compared to Jaylen Brown. Of course, Brown's line is 26.5, Tatum's line is 30.5, but even at 30.5, Tatum's been clearing that at a higher clip than Brown has been clearing 26.5. So there you go. There's some information for you. He's averaging 31 points per game this season. At home, 32.9. Let's call it 33 points per game when he plays at home. Guys, my man's a a stellar 15 for 21. That's a 71% hit rate when he's playing in Boston. Love those hit rates, all right? We're catching him in a positive splits situation tonight playing at home. Now, on the road, it gets pretty ugly pretty quick. 29.5 points per game when he plays on the road. That's just 9 for 25. That's only 36%. So you're talking about a guy who's covering his points prop at a 36% clip on the road versus a 71% clip at home. Safe to say Jason Tatum likes playing at home, more comfortable playing in front of the Boston fans, the arena, the ambiance, or what have you, the atmosphere. He likes the Boston crowd from what it looks like. The last 10 games for Tatum have also been very good, playing at home, 7 for 10, 70%. And then the last 5, he's cleared this in 4 out of 5, which is an 80% hit rate. So Tatum at home. Different animal, man. Different beast. Looking pretty good. Now, he's played the Knicks once this season. This game was not at home. This game was on the road, where he's been historically worse this season. Had 26 points against the Knicks in that game, so he did end up going under at 30.5. Taking a quick flashback and peek at what he did last season, well, he played the Knicks a total of 4 times last year. He only cleared this number, 30.5 points, 1 time out of 4 games against the Knicks last season. So take that for what you will, all right? 1 for his last 5, including games from last year. So that's a 20% hit rate, averaging just 25.2 points per game against the Knicks. Do the Knicks have Jason Tatum's number? They might. I mean, from what it looks like, just doesn't have a great game against the Knicks whenever they typically face off. So let's get you a projection here on Jason Tatum, and we'll keep things rolling. 29.5 is his projected points line today. Guys, we're seeing some mixed results. I'm talking about real bettors who are going online to these different sports books, DraftKings, your FanDuels, your BetMGMs, your points bets. Some people are smashing the over, -120, -118. Some are skeptical. Like on BetMGM, they're betting the under at -125. So you're seeing different situations here. Yes, Jason Tatum is at home tonight, where he is much better, higher point per game average, much higher hit rates. He is playing at home tonight, but he's playing against the Knicks, a team that he's only hit the over in 1 out of his last 5 games. So I don't mind it. We talked about his assists earlier. That could be another look for you guys. But yeah, Tatum, I mean, he's going to have to get some buckets tonight, right? Which brings us to another Boston Celtics point prop that you asked about, which is Al Horford. Now, I've kind of soured on Al Horford. I have not been playing a whole lot of Al Horford here lately. Al Horford, 8.5 points. I'm guessing you're wanting to take the over on Al Horford. We've seen Al Horford put up 6 and 5 in his last 2 games, Orlando, Toronto. 8 against Charlotte. We know Charlotte's pretty weak against opposing bigs, but Al Horford could not take advantage in that rematch. He did have 16 in the previous game, so there's that. 20 against Golden State. Those 20-point games, few and far between for Big Al as he gets up there in years. But let's take a look at Al Horford real quick. Al Horford's facing off against the New York Knicks as well, joining his buddies Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. This season at 8.5 points, just 45% hit rate. Now, a lot of these hit rates are very front-loaded here, which kind of coincides when Robert Williams was out, right? Robert Williams missed like the first, 20-ish games or so. First month or 2 of the season, I want to say. I don't think he came back until like December, or maybe it was early January. Can't quite recall. But I want to point out that most of the green that you're seeing here in Al Horford's game logs came sort of in that first half or first quarter or first third of the season. The last like 30 games or so for Al Horford have been not so good, right? He's only covered 8.5 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 out of his last 21 covering 8.5 points. So I'm not looking to take the over here on Al Horford. Could it happen? Sure. A lot of stuff could happen. I mean, maybe he does go over 8.5 points. But for me, Can't trust this guy. I cannot trust him to score. His role is more in the rebounding department, I think, these days. But he did play New York last season twice. He went under against the Knicks in both games, 7 points and 3 points. Of course, New York, maybe they're downgraded a little bit without Mitchell Robinson. You're going to see more Jericho Sims, more Isaiah Hartenstein at the center spot. I could even see a situation where they run Julius Randle at center a little bit, but that's probably going to be his primary matchup tonight. It's Julius Randle. But yeah, 0 for 2 last season. No games against New York this season. So yeah, I'm kind of out on anything Al Horford related. But I will say this, he does score a little bit better at home, 10.6 points per game. So all these Celtics seem to do better when they play at home, and just 8.1 points on the road. But I would pick Tatum over points before I would touch Al Horford's points. Just me personally. But anyway, let's get you a projection here. Al Horford's at 8.5. We've got a projection of 8.7. But the betting public has no faith in this guy either. Betting the under here, minus 125, 128, and 130 on a lot of these books. So that's going to be either a big fat fade or just take the under. For me, I'll probably just fade that one. I'm leaving Al Horford alone. You guys, if you like him, feel free to mess with Al Horford. Luka Doncic is our last one, and he's a good one. He's definitely a good one. Luka, 34.5. I think he might be the front runner for me for MVP. What do you guys think? Is Luka winning the MVP race so far? Or are you putting a guy like Jokic or maybe an Embiid? I don't know if Giannis has been a little in and out. He's been a little flaky for me. But I think Luka might be the front runner for MVP this season. I think so far he's having a fantastic year, especially when you kind of look at some of the pieces around him. I mean, Luka needs some help, y'all. We got to get Luka some help. Spencer Dinwiddie's probably a good third option, but shouldn't be your second option, unfortunately. But hey, Luka's got big shoulders. He's carrying the Dallas Mavericks. Anyway, Luka Doncic is at 34.5 points, something he's hit the over on in 20 games out of 44 that he's appeared in. That's a 45% hit rate. 33.8 points per game for the season. We have seen these points per game averages for Luka start to taper off here. Last 10 games, he goes from 33.8 for the season, last 10 to 32.3. We've seen the 32.3 taper off down to 29.8. All right, so the scoring averages for the season, for the last 10 games, for the last 5 games are starting to dip for Luka Doncic. So let's get into it a little bit closer here. He's played against the Phoenix Suns 2 times this year, covered in 1 game at Phoenix, missed in the next game. This was at Dallas, so he's 1 for 2, averaging 34 points per game. So this line of 34.5 is pretty tight. That's a sharp line. That is about as sharp as it gets. Flashing back to last season against the Phoenix Suns, my boy's 4 for 10 at 34.5 points. Luka at Phoenix seems to be better than Luka at Dallas. If we just filter this out by away games here, his last 5 games that he's played in Phoenix, 4 for 5. Now that's 80%. I'm not mad at that. I actually like what I'm seeing here. Luka on the road, playing in Phoenix, 4 for 5. 4 of those games were from last season where he was 3 for 4. 1 game this season where he is 1 for 1. But that 34.5 is going to be tough, guys. He's put in like 35, 35, 35, and then a big 45 here as well. So 4 out of his last 5, he is covered when he plays at Phoenix. So he seems to get better results when he's playing on the road. Let's take a look at his splits this season. At home, 34.8 points per game. On the road, 32.4 points per game. But I want to mention that his last 6 road games have been mostly good here. He did only have 15 points against Portland, but if you back that thing up, like Juvie said, Juvenile, shout out to Cash Money, 35, 43, 39, 51, and 50. So he hit the over at 34.5 points in 5 out of his last 6 games on the road. So points per game on the road this season, lower than they are at home, but he seems to do better when he plays Phoenix in Phoenix, at least going back to last season and the 1 game that we have this season. So there you go. there's a little rundown there for you for Luka Doncic and his points. Let's get you a projection here. 32.8. 32.8 points for Luka. That's his projection. 34.5 when you're looking at these different sports books, guys. Minus 120, minus 125. Not a whole lot of juice on the over on Luka's 34.5. I mean, there could be other options, other ways to play Luka that are better than his points. For time's sake, I won't get into all those, but I'll definitely be doing some more research on Luka Doncic and posting my findings. Which brings us to... well, no, that's it. Mikal Bridges, 4 rebounds. Jason Tatum, 30.5 points. Luka, 34.5 points. And Derek White at 7.5 rebounds. Those were the options. I think we faded Al Horford. No offense, but I can't touch Al Horford's points. I'm not going over or under on him. I'm just not even going to mess with him. But I think for me, that Derek White one was really kind of eye-opening, and maybe you guys agree. Derek White, as I mentioned, those 7.5 rebounds and assists without Marcus Smart. 6 out of 8 this season, including 5 straight games without Smart. That one was kind of the gem that I feel pretty good about out of all of them. So let's move on. Let's get up to these other super chats. Blaine, appreciate you leaving that one for me. Carson's coming through with another one. He's asking about Tatum's rebounds and assists. So we're liking Derek White's rebounds and assists, but he's also mentioning Jason Tatum's rebounds and assists. He's also liking some Nikola Vucevic first half. Never a bad time with Nikola Vucevic. And of course, Spencer Dinwiddie points. Everybody's hero, right? Against the Wizards. I think Dinwiddie ended up coming through on those points. So we got Dinwiddie points. We got Tatum rebounds and assists. Again, Carson, hey, man, I appreciate you showing up, Carson. I appreciate you leaving those super chats and all the support, man. You've been great here recently. And then Vucevic, we're going first half only on Vucevic because we're a little worried. I think we're a little worried about the potential blowout here. So, all right, we got 1, 2, 3 loaded up here for Carson. Let's start with the Dinwiddie. We're already on Vooch. Let's go ahead and start with the PRA on Vooch. All right, 17.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Vucevic. He's also been a fantasy score player for me, too, for the first half. He's an option for either or. So you could go PRA for Vooch. You could go fantasy score for Vooch. I think both of these are probably fine options. Taking a look here at the matchup, obviously he's going up against the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets, not very good against opposing centers for the most part. So let's go find the Hornets and see what they've been up to over the last 7 games. 53.3 fantasy points per game to centers over their last 7 games. That breaks out to about 25.5 points given up, 13.6 rebounds given up, and about 4.5 assists given up as well. So either way, I think both of these look like fine options. Now, thank you to props.cash for adding first half, second half options for us. Let's take a look at Nikola Vucevic and his first half PRA hit rates and see how those are looking. So we'll go first half, hit this little first half button, and you can see he's at a 55% hit rate on his first half points, in case you're considering just the points. 55% on the points. When we flip this from points to PRA, his PRA at 18.5 or 17.5. 47%. Now that's kind of interesting. 47% hit rate on the PRA, but the points, 55% hit rate. So maybe you consider just taking the points at 9.5. It's got the higher hit rate versus the PRA. All right. Last 10 games on the points, first half only, 7 out of 10. Last 10 games on the PRA, 8 out of 10. A little higher hit rates recently, if we're talking recent games, on the PRA at 8 out of 10 versus the 7 out of 10 on just the points. And then we mentioned fantasy score for Vucevic as well. Now, you can't use props.cash to help you with anything fantasy score related, but that's where StatMuse can be your best friend. You go Nikola Vucevic, first half FanDuel points logs this season. And then you can kind of get an idea of what he's been doing, past the last 5 games. He's hit the over in 1, 2, 3, 4 straight. Of course, he had that 9.8 dud against the Oklahoma City Thunder. That's a matchup he should have feasted on. He did not did not capitalize there. But then we look at the next 5 games. He's hit the over here, falls short at 15-6, over. So he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of his last 10 covering 21.5 first half fantasy. So 8 out of 10 on the PRA, 8 out of 10 on the fantasy. I think both of those look like pretty solid options. And then 7 out of 10 on the points. So these two probably going to be a tie for me, a coin flip. Take the one that you feel better about. I don't think there's a wrong option. You should feel good about both. Hey, maybe you make 1 entry with fantasy, 1 entry with PRA. Both of them look pretty good, though. Both 8 out of 10. And then you could even make a 3rd entry and put his points in there. Shoot, maybe just goes bonkers and hits all 3. You never know. But there you go. That's kind of the rundown on Nikola Vucevic and his first half PRA. Don't have any first half projections for you, unfortunately. The best I can do is this. Let me show you something. We'll go Nikola Vucevic. PRA for the full game is 34.8. If you take that 34.8, divide by 2, that's about 17.4 PRA per half. Again, not an exact science, but it's about the best we could do to get you a first half projection. The other thing that we could do is look at his fantasy score, which is at 43.87. So we take that 43.87, divide by 2. That's about 21. Let's just call it 22 fantasy score. So he's got a slightly higher fantasy score per half number than he does a PRA. So I don't know. For me, if you want to break the tie, let's go fantasy score. He could get a steal, a block against Charlotte, and those go a long way. Those are worth 3 points a piece for every steal, for every block that he's able to get. So Vucevic first half fantasy score. I'm just a fantasy score guy. Maybe it's the DraftKings and FanDuel in me. So there you go. So there's that. I like that. Obviously, Vucevic in a good spot tonight. What other ones were we mentioning? Spencer Dinwiddie, full game points. Let's go find Dinwiddie. Spencer playing some really good ball lately. 28, 20, 19, 21, and 20 points in his last 5 games. It's Green Bean City here for Spencer Dinwiddie. Can he keep it up tonight? Well, possibly. Looking at this game, Dallas and Phoenix, 221.5 points with a 1.5 point spread. So not the greatest total, but it is expected to stay close and competitive. So if we get 4 quarters of Dinwiddie, he should have every opportunity that we could ask for to get buckets. And getting buckets is something that Dinwiddie's been doing a lot of lately. So let's go take a look at that. 21 for 48 this season. That's a 44% hit rate. Pulling Christian Wood out, though, brings his points per game and his hit rates up quite a bit here. He's hit in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 games without Christian Wood. So that's definitely good at 18.5. 6 out of his last 7 without Wood. What about like points and assists? Same hit rate, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 7 without Wood on points and assists. How about points and rebounds? A little bit lower, 5 out of 7. PRA, also 6 out of 7. So you got a lot of different options here. You don't have to go purely points, but if you want to go just purely points, those look like pretty solid looks. Anything else standing out here on Mr. Dinwiddie? No. All right, so points and rebounds, points and assists, points, rebounds, and assists, all of those look pretty good as long as Christian Wood does not play tonight. And I don't think he's going to play, but he is listed as a game time decision on RotoWire. So, yeah, Dinwiddie's been on an absolute tear. What has he done against Phoenix this season? Let's go take a look at that. 2 games played against the Suns. He had 15 in one game, 21 in the other. So he's 1 for 2 against the Suns. 0 for 2 on PA against the Suns. 1 for 2 on PR against the Suns, and 0 for 2 on PRA. So it would be PR or points for me, just based on the fact that he's hit in at least 1 game against Phoenix. Going back to last season, let's go. No, they don't have him on here anymore. All right. Going back to last season, he played a different role. Obviously, Jalen Brunson was there, so Spencer Dinwiddie's role was definitely diminished, but that's just how he's done against Phoenix. Those I would take with a very tiny grain of salt. It's all about this season. New situation, new dynamic on this team. So anyway, let's get you a projection on Dinwiddie's points here. Dinwiddie been on a tear. He's projected for 18.6. Guys, he's a betting favorite at minus 135 to go over. We're also seeing him at a minus 125 to go over. Some books even have him posted up at 19.5 points, meaning their lines makers think 19 to 20 points is where Spencer Dinwiddie lands tonight. We talked about some of these other categories, other ways to play Dinwiddie. His PRA, that's sitting at 27.5. Not so great on this one because he is a betting favorite slightly to go under at 27.5. So you probably want to avoid that one. That is not considered plus EV, not a plus earned value play. Outside of that, we talked about PR. That could be a look, 22.5 on PrizePicks, but a betting favorite to go under. So that's going to be not a plus EV play. And then 23.5 points and assists. That one you could probably roll with too. So it would either be points for me or points and assists if you wanted to go with a Dinwiddie option today. He's projected for 23.7 points and assists, and he's a minus 125 betting favorite at 23.5. We're also seeing him a point higher on FanDuel at 24.5. So points or points plus assists for Dinwiddie, probably your best options. Which brings us to Jason Tatum's rebounds and assists. A lot of love for Tatum. Somebody's super chatted earlier, hey, let's just take the Tatum assists. Somebody also asked about Tatum's points. Well, now we're giving you a third route that you could go here with Tatum, which is his rebounds and assists. So let's look at those as well. While we're talking Tatum, we might as well cover all the bases, right? We might as well. So this will be the third different way that you could play Jason Tatum today. 13.5 rebounds and assists. This has been something that he's been crushing lately. 8 out of his last 10. That's an 80% hit rate, averaging 16.3 rebounds and assists in that span. Now, some of those games, obviously, you had certain players in and out of the lineup. The game against Miami, 21 rebounds and assists. There was a lot of guys out for that game. So, Tatum, some of these game logs are a little bit skewed. That's what I'll say, okay? But 8 out of 10 nonetheless, 80%, averaging 16.3. So we talked about him being a better scorer at home. Well, what about when he is rebounding and assisting? Is he doing more of that at home, less of that at home? At home, 12.8, just an 8 for 21, 38% hit rate. So you're not catching him in a positive splits spot. 12.8. On the road, 13.2. So it's not a significant difference. It's only really a difference of 0.4 rebounds and assists. But nonetheless, he's got slightly higher hit rates when he plays on the road at 48% than when he's at home at 38%. So I wouldn't be too worried about the splits. What I would be worried about is the fact that he played New York already once, and we know he did not hit his points prop. Well, he also did not hit his rebounds and assist prop either. He finished with just 9 R plus A, rebounds plus assists. Just flashing back to last season at 13.5, he did hit in 2 out of 4 games. So overall, 2 of his last 5 when playing up against the New York Knicks. Has not hit at home versus them. If we take a look at those games, 0 for 2 playing in Boston, facing off against New York. So interesting for me. I'm going to kind of probably stay away from it. Just personally, I'll probably stay away from it because, Boston's going to be pretty healthy. One last thing that we need to do, though, is we need to take Marcus Smart out and then take a look at Tatum's hit logs, hit rates, game logs, whatever you want to call them. This season, he's hitting 5 out of 8 games without Marcus Smart. For those of you who want to know that information, 5 of 8 without Marcus Smart on 13.5 rebounds and assists. So there you go. Let's get a projection up on the board for you so you guys can kind of see what the models on Action Labs, Fantasy Labs are saying about Tatum. They got him at 12.9 rebounds and assists. That's less than 13.5. Plus, he's a betting favorite to go under 13.5. We're talking minus 125 on a lot of these books. So this, again, would be one of those plays where you are going against the odds, going against the grain. The odds are not in your favor. Mathematically speaking, this is probably not another one of those plus EV plays. This is not one that I would suggest playing. So I'm going to leave him off. But I do like Nikola Vucevic for first half. That's probably going to be the star of the ones that you left. So again, Thank you again for the super chat, my friend. Dinwiddie's points looking good. Tatum, Tatum rebounds and assists probably going to be one that I leave off. But loving some Vucevic tonight. Loving Vucci. Everyday Fantasy coming through with another big super chat, my friend. I appreciate you. He's got a little 6-man going right now. He's liking some Kyrie Irving. Shout out to Uncle Drew. He's taking Kyrie from more than 3 3-point makes. Okay. He's liking Bogdanovich for more than 2 3-point makes. Let's take a look at Bogey. Mr. Bogdanovich, boom. We got him in there for more than 2 3-point makes. He's also liking some Jalen Green for more than 3.5 assists. I think he's been definitely dropping more dimes without KPJ in the fold. He's also liking Trey Jones for more than 5.5 assists. Let's go find Trey. 5.5 assists going up against the Clippers tonight. And he's got Socan. Am I saying that right? Socan. I've seen some people say it's Sohan. Like the C is silent. How do you say this guy's name? Is it Socan? I can. So can you. Is that how you say it? Socan. He's liking the rebounds and assists for him. And he's liking Patrick Williams for 1 swipe tonight. 1 steal. Where's my guy at? Pat Williams. He's got that little blonde streak running down the middle of his cornrows. I don't know if that's something he was born with or if that's just his swag, his riz that he's going with. But Pat Williams got the blonde streak right down the middle of his head. All right, let's go Kyrie Irving first and foremost with 3 3-point makes. He's liking the over on this one. Kyrie's going up against the Detroit Pistons. This game is expected to blow out. But the good news is Kyrie Irving is the type of guy where he could clear 3 3-point makes for you in 1 quarter or in 1 half. So even if this game doesn't blow out, or it does blow out rather, even if this game does blow out, Kyrie Irving, good chance he finds at least 3 threes. He'll probably have a major role, a big hand in a blowout, right? You would hope that Kyrie Irving is cooking, and he's part of the reason why the Brooklyn Nets pull away from the Detroit Pistons. So Kyrie, he's at 3.5 when you pull him up here using props.cash, but we're looking at 3 or better. So I'm going to bump him down to 2.5. You can see he's hit 3 or more 3-point makes 21 times out of 36 games played. That's a 58% hit rate. And things in the last 10 games for Kyrie have been pretty good. 6 out of his last 10. His last 30 games, we've seen him hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of 18 times he's had at least 3 3-point makes. But as we've talked about before, we're not playing for the tie. We don't want the push. We want 4 or more. So can he hit 4 or more tonight? He's done so in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of his last 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 50%. 9 out of his last 18 games, he has hit 4 or more. Okay. So 3 seems to be probably what happens, but 4, it can be done. Not impossible. In fact, he's already done it once against Detroit this season. He's made 5 threes against them playing at Detroit. This game's going to be at home. So already 1 for 1 against Detroit this season. Of course, no Kevin Durant tonight. So Kyrie Irving's going to have more of a green light, more opportunities to shoot if he so chooses. At home this season, he's knocking down about 2.7 3-pointers per game. That's slightly higher than 2.5. That's closer to 3 than it is 2. His hit rates are just 50% for the year at home. All right. Versus on the road where he's making 3.7 3-point makes for a 12 of 18 hit rate at 3 or more 3-point makes. That's 67%. So he's definitely averaging more 3-point makes on the road than he is at home this season. We're catching him at home. So I just want to let you know he ain't shooting it the same when he's at home, but he is 1 for 1 against Detroit, and he's already knocked down 5 threes against them on the road. So Kyrie's projection for 3-point makes, I got him at 4.2, my friends. He's at 3 on PrizePicks. I got him at 4.2, however. 4.2 is definitely more than 3, so I would take the over on 3. Guys, you might end up tying. He might end up with exactly 3, but hey, it's not the end of the world. We would like 4, but it's not the end of the world if he ties on 3 threes. And then at 3.5, the reason he's at 3 on PrizePicks is because the sports bettors out there on these online sports books are smashing the under here. They don't think he's going to make at least 4. And how can you knock them? How can you fault them for wanting to take the under on 3.5 whenever I just showed you he's not shooting the 3 like he does on the road when he plays at home? So there's Kyrie Irving for you. Bojan Bogdanovic here, 2.0, meaning he's either been bumped up from 2.5, bumped down rather from 2.5, or he's been bumped up from 1.5. So we're going to take a look at Bogdanovic and his 3-point makes. He's on the flip side of this game, right? We got Kyrie Irving's threes for Brooklyn. We got Detroit's Bojan Buckets Bogdanovic. 2.5 is his number on Props Not Cash, but we bump him down to 1.5, and you can see that he's hit at least 2 threes in 65% of the games that he's appeared in this season. That's a 30 out of 46 hit rate. Taking a look at his per game averages, 2.5 makes per game. Last 10, that's really picked up, making 3 per game in his last 10, 3.2 in his last 5. And against the Brooklyn Nets, he made 3 already in their previous matchup. So 1 for 1 against Brooklyn, and we're starting to see those averages for Bogdanovic, last 10, last 5, climb, right? Last 10, he's made at least 2 threes in 8 out of 10, 80%. And then the last 5, he's made at least 2 in 3 out of 5, 60%. Okay. So there you go. And now taking a look at the split situation for him, he's going to be on the road tonight. At home, 2.9. On the road, 2.2. So we're catching both he and Kyrie Irving in what are, I guess you could call negative splits situations, right? Both of these guys kind of doing the opposite. Bogdanovic shoots better at home. Kyrie Irving shoots better on the road. Well, these guys are not in where they, perform better. Bogdanovic is going to be on the road and Kyrie's going to be at home. So, but nonetheless, I want to point out that Bogdanovic in his last 10 games on the road has knocked down at least 2 threes in 8 out of 10. So he's doing A-okay with making at least 2. It's making 3 where you might have a little bit of trouble here. So want to point that out. Both of these guys look like they're capable of meeting at least 3 3-point makes for Kyrie, 2 3-point makes for Bogdanovic. Taking a look here, same situation as we had with Kyrie, where at 2.5 3-point makes, a lot of juice coming in on the under, minus 145, minus 160 betting favorite to go under. And then projected for 2.7 3-point makes. That's more than 2. So just like Kyrie, take the over. Don't be surprised if they land on 3 for Kyrie, land on 2 for Bogdanovic. Could be one of those tie or push situations. I have a hard time seeing either one of these guys going for like 1 3-point make for Bogdanovic or 2 3-point makes for Kyrie. I think they're good for at least 3 or 2. Hopefully more though, right? Hopefully it turns into a shootout and they're running and gunning. But there's your 3-point make props. Appreciate all of you guys for leaving the comments and the likes. 236 people watching. Hey, we're on our way to 8K. We want to get 8,000 subscribers by the end of the week. If you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, get subscribed because you could win one of our risk-free 2-pick power plays like Kevin Stevens did today. Risk-free 2-pick power plays being given away every single day. I see so many people out on Twitter. When are you going to give me promo credits? PrizePicks, airdrop. We want airdrop. Listen, they're using me to be their mule, all right? This is me delivering some of those promo funds, some of those airdrop funds, or at least an opportunity to get your hands on some of them through these giveaways that I do every single day, all right? So it's a 2-pick power play. You get both picks right. You win $100 in promo credits. It's a shot at $100, guys. It's free. Just be a subscriber. Hit the like button on today's video. When I end the show, you'll be able to go to the comment section and comment your favorite pick, prop, or play of the day. And then I'm picking somebody from the comment section every single day I go live and do this show. So Kevin Stevens, if you're watching, you're today's winner. I just wanted to remind you, Kevin, shoot me that DM, all right, so I can get this free 2-pick power play added to your PrizePicks account. Boom. But there you go. For all you that are watching that are not subscribed, you want to make sure that you are subscribed. All right, let's get back to it for Everyday Fantasy. He's also asking about Jalen Green. Jalen Green sitting at 3.5 dimes today. Let's go and find him. He's on a back-to-back. Houston's playing Cleveland tonight. They played Washington last night. Jalen Green sitting at 3.5 dimes. Had 7 last night versus Washington. So we saw Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün really leading the way when it came to dime dropping for the Houston Rockets. So Green doing a pretty good job here at 4 or more with Kevin Porter Jr. out of the lineup. He's going to be out again tonight. So let's go run them game logs up real quick. Cleveland versus Houston. Got Jalen Green here for the season, 22 for 47. That's a 47% hit rate. Just quickly looking at the home splits, 4.2 dimes when he plays at home, 3.2 when he's on the road. So you're catching Jalen Green in a more green situation here. The fact that he's going to be at home tonight bodes well for him. 15 for 23 this season at 4 or more dimes. He's covered this in his last six games played at home. Talking about 7 out of his last 8 overall played at home. So 15 to 23, 65% hit rate. Jalen Green's assists looking very green. Now, we talked about Kevin Porter Jr.'s absence and how that's impacted Jalen Green. Well, Green's already sitting at 3.7 assists per game. So now we take Kevin Porter Jr. out of the fold, and we see Jalen Green's hit rates last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games played without Kevin Porter Jr. He's hitting 4 out of 7. That's better than 50%, which is A-okay by me. But here's where things really get juicy. When you look at the last 7 games, but you filter them and just look at home games, 4 for 4 at home. Like I said, he drops more dimes when he plays at home. 5, 7, 4, and 7. 4 for 4 without Kevin Porter Jr. when playing in Houston. He's going to be playing in Houston tonight against this Cleveland Cavaliers squad. So love what I'm seeing here. The home hit rates for Jalen Green, fantastic. Home hit rates without Kevin Porter Jr. looking really sweet too. Hasn't missed this prop yet without KPJ and playing at home. So things looking pretty nice here for him. And you know, it's a shame we're not getting Kevin Porter Jr. tonight because KPJ was once a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It would have been a Cleveland Cavalier revenge game. Speaking of the Cavaliers, we do not have any previous game logs. Green versus Cleveland from this season. Just flashing back to last season, though, 1 game played. That was February 2nd, almost exactly a year ago. 5 dimes, though, in that game against Cleveland. So he is 1 for 1. And yeah, this game was at home. 1 for 1 versus Cleveland last season at home with 5 assists. So the home splits don't lie, baby. My guy, 4.2 per game at home, 3.2 on the road. That's 1 assist. That's huge. That's a big swing. All right, getting you that projection here, Mr. Everyday Fantasy. Jalen Green, got him projected for 3.5 assists. He is at 3.5 assists on all sportsbooks. Betting favorite to go over 3.5 as well, which is what you want to see. Good juice, too. Minus 135 all the way up to minus 140 on some of these books. So liking the Jalen Green pick, I think you're on to something here. That one would be one that I would definitely play tonight. So I think Kyrie's good for at least 3. I think Bogdanovich is good for at least 2 3-pointers. And Jalen Green's looking like a pretty good bet for 4 assists tonight if all goes well. Now, while we're talking assists, we got Trey Jones on here. Of course, my man dropped us a 6-piece. A 6-piece with the sweet and sour sauce, all right? Trey Jones was another one of the picks that he liked. He's got Trey Jones for more than 5.5 assists. So let's go take a look here at my man, Trey Jones. Who? Trey Jones. Yeah, I'm old, y'all. That's a Mike Jones shout-out reference. Mike Jones, Houston, Texas. We're talking about San Antonio, Texas, though, with Trey Jones. Let's go see how Trey Jones has been doing with these 5.5 assists, y'all. 28 for 47 this season, 60% hit rate. I love that. 60 or better, and I'm in there like swimwear on 60% or better on any prop, really. But averaging 6.4 assists for the season, 6 assists in his last 10. That number in his last 5 has jumped up to 6.8. And he's already played the Clippers, and that was recently. He had 8 assists against the Clippers. Look at what he's done against the Clippers this season, y'all. 6, 10, and 8 assists. And that 8 assist game was 6 days ago. Little under a week ago, he had 8 dimes versus the LA Clippers. So how could you not like Tre Jones, right? 60% hit rate for the season, 3 for 3 against the Clippers this season. And then we could take this a step further. We could take Devin Vassell out and see what happens here. Games played without Devin Vassell, you're talking about pretty nice hit rates as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times he's hit this without Vassell out of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 13 out of 19 without Devin Vassell. Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. And what have we missed? Anything? I think we've covered everything about this prop. Home splits, 6.7 at home. On the road, 6 assists. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games on the road. So I'm not concerned at all. 6 straight on the road, 7 out of his last 8, 8 out of his last 9, or 8 out of his last 10 on the road. So yeah. Things are looking pretty spicy here for my guy Tre Jones to find himself with at least 6 dimes again tonight. So fire it up, baby. Fire it up. Let's get you a projection here. Tre Jones projected for 6.3 dimes. That's more than 5.5. Love that. And then you're getting some good juice on the over here. Minus 130 all the way up to minus 135. There's a lot to love. There's a lot to love with Tre Jones. So feeling good about that one too. Both him and Jalen Green look like they're in some pretty good assist spots tonight. We're talking about the Spurs, and while we got them up, let's go ahead and tackle this next one. Little worm, I call this guy. Little Dennis Rodman lookalike. Jeremy Sochan rocks that number 10 just like Dennis Rodman did when he was with San Antonio. We got, let's see, 7.5 rebounds and assists. It could be a good move. Let's dig into it a little bit here. Rebounds and assists, Jeremy Sochan. If he can do it, so can you. The last 30 games for this guy, 19 for 30, 63% hit rate. Love what I'm seeing there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 out of his last 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, 16 out of his last 21's big league, baby. That's good. I like that. What about when he's at home? 7.1. When he's on the road, 7.6. He's going to be on the road tonight where he's averaging more rebounds and assists. He's hit this in his last three games on the road, rebounds and assists. So he's looking pretty good. What about against the Clippers this season? All right, not as good as Tre Jones and his dimes, but he did cover in the last game, the last time they played one another. He had 8 rebounds and assists. He barely limped over that. So for me, I got to put the Tre Jones assists above this one, right? I think you guys would probably agree with that. Let's take Devin Vassell out and see the hit rates without Devin Vassell, because that's obviously going to be the situation tonight. No Vassell for the San Antonio Spurs. So 10 out of 17 without Vassell. That's a 59% hit rate, approaching 60, not too shabby. He's averaging 7.4 in that span, 8.5 in his last 10, and in the last 5, it's gone up even higher at 8.8. So he's covered this in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of his last 10, 11, 12. 9 out of his last 12 without Devin Vassell in the lineup. So Jeremy Sochan, not great against the Clippers, but the last time that he played them, that was without Devin Vassell. So he's got 2 games against the Clippers without Vassell, 6 and 8. 6 and 8 was the outcome. So 50% without Vassell. All right, moving ahead here. Let's get you that projection on the rebounds and assists for my guy Sochan. 8.3. That's more than 7.5. And again, another prop where we're getting some good juice on the over here. Minus 128 being the lowest, but all the way up to minus 140 betting favorite to go over at 7.5. So that one's looking pretty good. Like I said, I got to put the Tre Jones assists probably above that one, but I still think that's a viable play. That's a reasonable play there. Let's go to the steals section. Your last pick was Pat Williams at 0.5 steals. Let's get it in. Let's see. I got steals and blocks. There we go. Patrick Williams, I got projected for 0.9 steals. He's a minus 130 betting favorite on BetMGM to go over 0.5. So we need Patrick Williams to find just one steal tonight. I think it looks like a pretty promising rather, that he finds at least one steal. So let's click on Patrick Williams. This is a prop hitting at a 57% hit rate, although he is 0 for 1 against the Hornets. But 57%. I don't think splits matter a whole lot for something like steals, but we'll just look at him. 0.7 when he plays at home, and then 0.7 when he plays on the road. So yeah, nothing splits-wise that we need to be worried about. But 0 for 1 against Charlotte, 57% on the season. Hornets not really ranking very highly when it comes to steals allowed, just 6th, meaning they do a pretty decent job at not getting the ball swiped away from them. All right. So there's that. I already got you the projection of 0.9, betting favorite at minus 130 to go over and find at least one swipe today. So I like a lot of these, man. I think the 3-point props could tie, could push, but that's all right. We're cool with that. Jalen Green's assists look good to me. Trey Jones, 5.5 assists look good to me. I think that's playable. Patrick Williams, it'll probably happen, but it's one of those props where I don't know. It's just hard to put any real research behind it, but I mean, I guess it's looking good. It's looking good. But there you go, man. Hopefully that rundown, that breakdown of your 6 pick there really helped you out. Yes, Sober Soul, I did pick a winner. Today's winner is not you, unfortunately. Not you. It's Kevin Stevens. So if you know Kevin Stevens, tell him that I need his email address, all right? Or else he's not going to get his risk-free 2-pick to win $100. Ryan T coming through. Can you check into Brunson's PRA and Levine RA? Whew. You guys are lighting me up. You guys are lighting me up with these super chats today. Ryan T, can you check into Brunson's PRA and Levine's RA? I think we already did Levine, and hopefully you liked what I liked about that. That looked good. What about the PRA then for Jalen Brunson? 31.5. Ooh, been in a little bit of a slump lately. 28 against Atlanta, followed that up with 27 against Toronto, and then 20 against Cleveland. Now Atlanta, Toronto, and Cleveland, I did not watch those 3 games, but I will say this: if they put DeJounte Murray on him, I could see why he went under. If they, Toronto's defense pretty good typically. He had 35 PRA against Toronto. They ran it back a couple days later. Toronto did a better job against him. Didn't have quite the same output on the PRA as he did for their previous matchup on January 16th. And then Cleveland, 20. So these are some tough teams defensively that he's faced in the last 3 games. He's probably due for a little bit of a bounce back at some point. I don't know if it's going to be tonight. Obviously, Boston's playing without probably their best guard defender, which is Marcus Smart. But they're still pretty good with Derek White, Jaylen Brown out there on the perimeter. Malcolm Brogdon, good defender in his own right, kind of coming off of the bench. So it's not all bad news here for Boston. They still got some good defenders in there, which may give Jaylen Brown some problems. So let's go take a look at the PRA for Jalen Brunson. Too many Jalen's, man. What's with this? When did the name Jalen become so popular? It's like really over the last 10 years or something. It seems like I've seen or heard the name Jalen more and more often. That must be one of the most popular baby names of the last decade or two. But anyway, Jalen Brunson here. 31.5 PRA, 23 for 46, 50% hit rate this season. Okay, of course, he had this scorching hot little segment of the season here before reaching this 3-game sort of cold streak where he had hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 straight games. He had hit this 31.5. But then again, like we talked about, Atlanta, Toronto, and Cleveland giving him some problems here in the last 3 games. So I don't know. Maybe he's ready to come back to life. I'm not quite sure. I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I was at least half as good as Nostradamus, but I'm not. We can't predict the future. We know nothing. We're guessing. What I can tell you is that against Boston, they've already played each other. This was back in November, start of November. He had 35 points, rebounds, and assists in that game against Boston. That game was in New York. Tonight, the game is in Boston. It's going to be a road game for Jalen Brunson. So how does he perform at home versus on the road? Those are good questions to ask. 32.4 at home, 31.6 on the road, 52% when he plays away from Madison Square Garden. So the hit rate's a little bit higher actually on the road at 52%. But you're not really seeing a significant difference or change in his PRA. Not quite even one PRA difference when he plays at home versus on the road. So not a major splits situation here. Let's get you a projection on Brunson. Got Brunson at 32.7 points, rebounds, and assists. 32.7 points, rebounds, and assists. That's more than 31.5 on DraftKings and on BetMGM. FanDuel's even got him at 32.5. So you're seeing like a point of value or difference between the PrizePicks line and FanDuel's lines makers. So overall, though, getting some juice on the over at 31.5 at -125. Not as much juice as some of the other props we just looked at. Guys like Trey Jones assists, Jalen Green's assists. Not as much juice as that, right? Not -130, 40, and above. But the fact that they are betting the over should leave you feeling confident here. So he's projected to go over. The odds are on the over. You're getting a value of 1 PRA versus a site like FanDuel. Their lines makers are pretty good at their jobs, pretty sharp at what they do. And there you go. He's 1 for 1 against Boston too. So you could take a shot on some Jalen Brunson for more than 31.5. But he has been cold. So we got to definitely point that out. 0 for his last 3. All right. Running through the rest of these super chats, we got Ryan T leaving another one here. He's asking about Jalen Duren and Nicholas Claxton's points. Well, for me, Jalen Duren's going to be a wait and see. I think we're still trying to figure out if Beef Stew's going to be playing or not. He is questionable for tonight's game. Isaiah Stewart has not been ruled out yet, but he has been sidelined for 4 out of the last 6 games due to his sore shoulder. So it's not clear whether or not he's going to play. If he's ruled out again, Isaiah Livers, ankle, Kevin Knox, and Nerlens Noel could continue to see increased playing time. So I'm going to wait on Duren, but you're asking about him, so let's talk about it. You said Duren for points and Claxton for points. You're just wanting to take the 2 starting bigs from each of these 2 teams who are facing off against one another tonight, and you're wanting to just slap the over on both, huh? Let's look at those. Let's go points. We're going to go for Detroit versus Brooklyn. Got Jalen Duren at 10.5. He's covered this in 4 straight games. Let's try something here. Let's take Isaiah Stewart out and see what happens. All right. We take Isaiah Stewart out. When Stu sits, Duren is 3 for 8 on his points. I honestly thought that was going to be better. I kind of thought that was going to be better than what we're seeing here. I would imagine that he would have maybe been scoring more without Isaiah Stewart. He had 23 recently, 3 days ago against the Milwaukee Bucks. But some of these games, 1 against Cleveland. Cleveland's tough. Okay, we'll cut him some slack. 4 against Phoenix, 4 against Utah, 4 against Denver, 12 against Sacramento and LA, and then 8 against the Clippers. So just 3 for 8 without Isaiah Stewart. That doesn't look great. His rebounds are even kind of meh. At 10.5 boards, he's only cleared the rebound marker once without Isaiah Stewart this season. So very interesting. I would have imagined his numbers would have gone up. Let's take Marvin Bagley out as well. All right, so we've only got 1 game where Stewart and Bagley have both sat. In that game, that was the one against Milwaukee. At 10.5 points, Jalen Duren had himself a pretty darn good game. 23 points. On top of that, he had 15 rebounds. He even hit his assist prop with 1. So that means he hit his PRA as well, 39 PRAs. So, yeah, Jalen Duren 1 game without Stewart and Bagley. So that's not a very big sample size, but I guess it's decent. But yeah, kind of interesting that he would not be doing better than that without Isaiah Stewart in there. You would have thought that maybe he would have been scoring the ball a little bit better. At 10.5 points, though, he's 6 for his last 10. We talked about the big game against Milwaukee with 23. Prior to that, 11 against Chicago and in San Antonio, and then 18 against Golden State. So he's hit this in his last 4 games, 4 for his last 4. At home, 8.6 points. Away, 7.7 points. He is on the road tonight for what it's worth. Let's get you a projection here. We've got Durant projected for 9.8 points. That is going to put him as an under at 10.5. So if you're thinking about playing the over on Jalen Duren, maybe take a shot on it. But I will tell you this, it is not considered to be a plus EV play. He's not projecting well, and he is a slight betting favorite to go under at 10.5 points. So that's going to be a fade for me. That's going to be a fade. Hey, Tyler, we've talked a lot about Jason Tatum today. We've covered his points. We've covered his rebounds and assists. We've covered just the assists. So if you're interested in some Jason Tatum, man, roll that rewind button. Hit that rewind button or catch the replay. We've talked a lot about Tatum. I don't want to talk about him no more. Nicholas Claxton's at 16.5 points. We have seen Mr. Claxton here just balling. He's been playing very well lately. He could have his work cut out for him tonight, though, against Jalen Duren, who's got the size and athleticism to really match up well with Nicholas Claxton. But let's take a look here at 16.5 points. That seems like quite a big number. But this season, 25% hit rate. We've seen Nicholas Claxton cover this now in 5 out of his last 6 games. So again, he's really picked it up here lately. Probably since Kevin Durant went down with an injury. In fact, let's do that. Let's take Kevin Durant out. 12.9 points per game this season. When we take KD out, you can see what he's done here in the last 10 games or so. He's hit this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 7 games without Durant. Had 15 against San Antonio. Respectable effort, but fell short. 9 against a tough Boston Celtics team. So he's hit this in 4 out of his last 4 games. All those games, obviously, without Kevin Durant. He's played Detroit once this season, had just 6 points against him in that game. We dialed this up to 16.5. Yeah, he fell way short of 16.5. But of course, KD was probably active for that game. So, take that with a grain of salt. As far as Nicholas Claxton goes, when it comes to split situations, well, he's playing at home tonight. 12.6 points per game at home versus 13.2 on the road. So, doing a little bit better job, all right, when he plays at home or plays on the road. But tonight he's going to be at home versus Detroit. So there you go. Let's get you a projection on Claxton's points. I got Claxton projected for a healthy 17.5 points. He's a minus 135, minus 122 betting favorite to clear 16.5. And we can even go look at some DVP information here. Detroit, guys, giving up over 31 points per game to opposing centers. Wow, that's a lot. Over 31 points per game in their last 7 games to opposing centers. That's the second highest points per game average in that 7-game span. So definitely a favorable matchup for Nicholas Claxton tonight, who's had 20 or more points in 4 straight games. Shout out to Nicholas Claxton. Yeah, that one's looking pretty darn good. All right. I like that, Ryan T. I like Claxton more than Duren. How about that? We'll leave it at that. Carlo, thank you for subscribing to the channel. We got Rocket Sauce coming through here. He's got a loaded super chat for us. Thank you for that. Appreciate the super chat. Pistons, Bogdanovich, over 10.5 first half points. And Ayton, over 8.5 first half points. Maybe fantasy score better for Ayton. Maybe. We'll look at that. Thank you, CJ, and go Eagles. Absolutely. Fly, Eagles, fly, baby. Let's go get that dub on Sunday. Can't wait for that game. Starting it off here with a couple of first half plays. He's liking some Bogdanovich for points at 10.5. Okay. And we'll be sure to look at the PRA for Bogdanovich as well. And then he's got DeAndre Ayton at either 8.5 points or possibly going with the fantasy score. Okay. All right. And I'm guessing you want to hit the more button on all of those, right? Knowing you like I know you, man. You're the You're the more guy. You like the overs. So let's go look at this game here. We got Bojan Bogdanovic. Once upon a time, he was the first half darling. First half darling for us. I mean, this guy could not miss for a period of time on that first half prop. So let's take a look here at 10.5 first half points. He's 63%. Seems like he's really been picking up the first half scoring in the last 10 games or so. He's hit the over here in 7 out of his last 8 first half games played. So 63% hit rate on Bogdanovic. Let me look at something here. So he's got his PRA at 13.5 points or at 10.5. So 63% this season at 10.5 first half points. What about the PRA? That's what I really want to look at, comparing the two. His PRA is at 13.5, 67% on that. So 67% on the PRA and 63% on just the points. So the PRA's got the slightly higher hit rate. All right, last 10 games on the points, 7 for 10. Last 10 games on the PRA, 7 for 10. So you got a tie there. Last 10 games, same hit rates on the points as the PRA. But overall, for the season, he's got the higher hit rate on first half PRA. So that's the conundrum, right? But yeah, look at these game logs. I mean, there was games of streaks of 10 games in a row and stuff. I mean, 8 games, 5 games in a row where he was hitting the first half PRA, first half points with ease. But he's really started to kind of pick it up here lately. It's looking a lot better for Bogdanovic. Let's look at some of those splits data points here for Bogdanovic. So at home, first half, 10.8 points. On the road, 11.5. All right. So he's scoring more first half points when he is on the road, which is the situation tonight. He's going to be on the road against Brooklyn. So 67% in his road games at 10.5 points. How does that compare to the PRA on the road? Well, the PRA on the road is also 67%. So I don't think you could go wrong with either one of these. I think for him to hit his PRA, he's a very score heavy type of guy. He's typically not going to be the guy who's going to get you 4 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists or something like that, right? He's going to be the type of guy where you're going to need him to be scoring the ball. A lot of what he's going to do in the PRA department or even first half fantasy score is going to come from him being able to put the ball in the bucket. But yeah, points or PRA, both of those look solid. I guess we give the tiebreaker to the PRA since it's got the slightly, I think it's 1 game different as far as the hit rate. So both of those look pretty good. Projection wise, we're going to try and come up with one for you. Bogdanovic is projected for 22.1 points. So if we kind of just go 22.1, we divide that by 2. Oop, I must have multiplied. 22.1, divide that by 2. That's about 11 points per half based on the projections that are provided here for Action Labs. So that's good. That's more than 10.5. And then his PRA is sitting at 28.8, right? So we take the 28.8, we divide that by 2. We're looking at about 14.4 PRA per half, which is less than 15.5. So it's really tight between these two. I guess just go with the points. Oh, wait. Nope, I lied. Hold on. 13 point. I was looking at fantasy score. It's a good thing I caught myself. 14.4 PRA per half, 13.5 PRA for the first half. So both of his projections are higher than his first half numbers here. 13.5 PR. I mean, it's a coin flip. Play both. Shit, I don't know. I mean, they both look good. All right. So there's Bogdanovic for you. I think that's a fine look. More. And then Ayton was your other guy, right? So let's go look at some DeAndre Ayton first half numbers real quick. He's at 8.5 first half points. He's covered this in 2 of his last 2. So 12 points against Memphis, 17 against Brooklyn. Previously, though, 6, 6, and 8, under, and under. So 2 out of his last 5 on that. For the fantasy score, 3 out of his last 5, a little bit better. PRA, though. Ooh, hold on. Now, why are you not considering DeAndre Ayton for his first half PRA? You mentioned the first half points. You mentioned the fantasy score, but I'm looking at PRA right here, and I'm seeing a 5 for 5. All right, so let's also consider DeAndre Ayton's first half PRA here. 5 out of his last 5. It's got the highest hit rates in that last 5-game sample size. So this is why we do what we do. We discover these little hidden gems, these little hidden props, right? So first and foremost, we're looking at Ayton's points. Points are set at 8.5, 48% hit rate on the points. Okay? PRA is set at 14.5, 57% hit rate. So the PRA wins out, right, when it comes to hit rate. 57% hit rate on the PRA and 48% on the points. So I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the points from the conversation. PRA, higher hit rate lately, higher hit rate for the season overall. So if you're going to go first half only, the first half for DeAndre Ayton's PRA looks really good here, especially when you kind of consider sort of the back half of these 40 game logs, the last 20 games or so. So looking at those, he's 20 for his last 30. That's a 67% hit rate. Take a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 hits out of 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 19 out of his last 25 on his first half PRA is pretty stinking good. Now, fantasy score was something else that you asked about. Let's get Vucevic out of here. Let's go DeAndre Ayton first half FanDuel points logs this season. This will give us the last 25. We can count these down real quick. He's at 15.5 fantasy score, so he needs at least 15.6 for us to go over. Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 out of 25. We said that he had covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, so the fantasy score's hitting at a lower rate than the PRA. So I think we've found what looks to be, based on hit rates, the best first half option. The best first half option for DeAndre Ayton, which would be his first half points, rebounds, and assists. Okay, so now that we've kind of like whittled it down to just one option, the PRA, what has he done against Dallas? Well, 2 games played against him this season, had 7 in one game. Of course, Phoenix was a lot healthier then. 17 on December 5th. So he's 1 for 2 against the Mavs. And we go back to last season. He played the Dallas Mavericks 9 times. He covered in 5 out of 9. So overall, this season, last season combined, 6 for 11, 55% hit rate. Does he play better or worse at home? 3 out of his last 7. 0 for 1 this season against them playing in Phoenix. All right. So there you go. That's DeAndre Ayton for you. I think you would go be best to go with his PRA for first half if you're wanting to go first half. I got a projection of 32.3 for DeAndre Ayton. Let's divide that by 2. And when we do that, we're looking at about 16.1 PRA per half. 16.1, more than 14.5. And he's got a really nice hit rate here on the first half PRA. So I like that one. I would go Ayton more on the PRA. I think we determined Bogdanovich points or PRA. You can go either which way on those. Those are solid. Both of those. All right. There you go, Rocket Sauce. Hopefully that helps you out. And Chris Day's coming through. He's liking some KJ Martin. Is that Kenyon Martin Jr.? Is that Kenyon Martin's boy? Kenyon Martin Jr.? Let's go look at him. 5.5 rebounds. We saw Jabari Smith Jr. make his way back into the starting lineup in the last game. I had played this, I think, once before with Jabari out. Jabari's back, though. But let's take a look at Martin here. a guy who's been going over 5.5 rebounds in 5 out of his last 5 games here. So averaging a healthy 8.6 boards. Whew, my guy was on the glass last night, cleaning those boards. 13 rebounds against Washington last night. My goodness. Okay. Let's go take a look at Kenyon Martin Jr. KJ Martin. It's weird. KJ Martin Jr. doesn't sound right. You're either going to be KJ, Kenyon Jr., or let's just call you Kenyon Martin Jr., not KJ Martin Jr. It's like rhetorical in a way. Anyway, let's go pull up his rebounds real quick for you guys and see what little K Mart's doing. Last 10 games, he's hit the over on this in 6 of 10, including 6 straight games. So we got the 5 out of 5 here on PrizePicks, but we're actually rocking with 6 out of 6. He's still at 5.5 today. He's hit 7 or more, so it's not like he's barely getting over 5.5. He's covering it a lot of times here in the last 6 games by at least 2 boards. So that's looking pretty darn good. I like that. What about his season averages here? 5.3 for the season at home, which is where he's playing tonight. He's 5.7 away. He's 4.8, so he is rebounding better at home. So that's positive news. Showing good form lately. Rebounding better at home. No previous game logs against Cleveland. We know Cleveland's got the Twin Towers. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, they're going to be out there rebounding. Alperen Sengun's going to be out there rebounding. You got Jabari Smith. He's going to be out there rebounding. They got some long, tall boys out there. Some big boys out there battling for rebounds. So it might be a little harder tonight for Kenyon Martin Jr. to find some of those rebounds, but let's get you a projection on this real quick. Kenyon Martin Jr. Wonder where he's at today. Let's see. Well, hey, man, you're on the right side of things here because I got him projected for 6.3 rebounds. He's also a betting favorite to go over 5.5 boards. He's a minus 130 betting favorite. So you're, again, on the right side of it. Looks like all the juice is coming in on the over. He's projected to go over at 6.3. It's hard to argue with a guy who is covered in 6 straight games. You know, the bottom will fall out at some point. All good things come to an end eventually, right? But there you go. Yeah. Cleveland got them long boys. Nick watching, thank you for subscribing. We're on our way to 8K, man. 8,000 subscribers. I'm pumped. I want you to be a part of the movement. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. I know we've been going for over 2 hours, but man, it's worth it. It's worth it for you guys. I want to try to put you guys on as many good plays as possible. Still catching up on these super chats. We got a couple more that are rolling in here. Adele coming through. He's got a big one here. Excuse me. Pause. Adele has a big super chat here, which consists of Bojan Bogdanovic points and assists, Mason Plumlee points and assists, Mikal Bridges points and assists, Jalen Green's rebounds and assists, and Big Red, Kevin Huerter, had himself a big game yesterday. He did end up going over his PRA. I think he went over his fantasy score too. I think I did have a little sample of his fantasy score. But yeah, we thought he would possibly have a good game yesterday, kind of be the one with the best option, best matchup defensively. And Sabonis did not play well, but Kevin Huerter did. So good call on that one. So let's go ahead and look at these. Starting with Bogey Bogdanovic. Points and assists for him, 23.5. You're liking the over on that. The other one you mentioned was Mason Plumlee, everyone's favorite taco, the Plum Dog millionaire. Points and assists for him at 17.5. Mikal Bridges, points and assists. He is sitting at 20.5 today. Okay. What was the other ones you mentioned? Jalen Green's rebounds and assists. So you could go Jalen Green purely on the assists. I think that's a good look, but rebounds and assists might be another option for you. He's at 7.5 rebounds and assists. Perfecto. All right, there's your 4. There's your 4 piece. So let's start it off with Bogdanovic here. You said points and assists for him. points and assists for Mason Plumlee. So we'll go bogey real quick. I wish PrizePicks had game logs, hit rates here for the last 5 for some of these other alternate ways to play props, like the points plus assists. Hopefully they do add that at some point, but that's where a props.cash, or if you really want to do extra work, you have to go to StatMuse, can help with some of these inquiries. But anyway, we've got props.cash, which is really the easier way to do things. So let's go look at it. Points plus assists for Bogdanović, 24.2 points and assists this season. Guys, he's at 23.5. There's a reason why my friend here is talking about this Bogdanović points and assists prop. I mean, just looking at his last 30 games, you're seeing a 70% hit rate. So if you wanted to take a full game prop, this one would be a full game prop worth taking for Bogdanović. He's now hit this in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games. 12 of his last 13 he's hit. 12 of his last 13. We go back even further. 13, 14, 15, 16 of his last 19 he's hit the over on this particular prop. This one is very green and looks very good. Again, looking at the split situation here for Bogdanović. First and foremost, he dropped 30 points and assists against Brooklyn December 18th. So he's 1 for 1 against them this season. Take a look at the home splits, 24.9 points and assists when he plays at home, 64% hit rate. When he plays on the road, 23.6, so not quite as many points and assists on the road this season, but still, he's covered this in 6 straight road games, 7 of his last 8. He's 15 for 24 overall, 63% hit rate. So Bogdanović looking really good. It's going to be coming off of 2 days of rest, so he should be well rested and ready to go. Let's get you a projection. I got him projected for 25. His line is 23.5, so 1.5 different. I like that. And then we're seeing juice coming in. The juice is loose on the over, minus 120, all the way up to minus 125. So loving that. That looks very, very juicy. Very juicy. Let's go find Mason Plumlee here at 17.5 points and assists. He's our next one. He's facing the Chicago Bulls. This game maybe potentially turns into a blowout. Let me refresh props.cash here because we don't have any Mason Plumlee information yet. So maybe they've added it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They added Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee, points and assists. Definitely been crushing it. First 2/3 of the season so far, a lot of red in there. More red than green. But the last 15 to 20 games, he's really started to pick up the pace here. So let's look at like the last 30 and count these down a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of his last 13, guys. 11 out of his last 13 games. He has gone over 17.5 points and assists. So that's looking pretty freaking good. Another one here who has just really picked it up in the points and assist category. What about some of these other ones for Plumlee, like points and rebounds? Is that as good? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of his last 13. All right, so you can go points and rebounds. You go points and assists. I think both are really solid options. What about versus Chicago? He's played the Bulls once. He had 14 points and assists against the Bulls in that game. Points and rebounds, 24. Pretty good, but not good enough to get over his line today. So 0 for 1. 0 for 1 against the Bulls so far. Is he a splits guy? Well, we can answer that for you. At home, 15.1. On the road, 16.1. Ooh, look at the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 road games, man. 8 for his last 8 on the road. So I would prefer him to be on the road. If I had to choose it, I would say, yeah, let's play Mason Plumlee on the road. But I don't get the choice. He's playing at home tonight, all right, where he's averaging 1 fewer point and assists at home this season. So there you go. Kind of a not great split situation for him. He is projected for 17. We need 18 if we're thinking about taking the over here. At 17.5, he is a minus 125 betting favorite to go over. So you're getting a little juice on the over, but you're getting a projection that's not so favorable. For me, I'm going to fade that one. Mikal Bridges was your other PA option, points and assists option. He's at 20.5 as well. Let's go find Mr. Bridges, Dallas at Phoenix. Bridges sitting at 20.5, another guy who has just been absolutely lighting it up. But I want to remind you that a lot of these games in his recent game logs were without Chris Paul. Chris Paul did play in the last game, but Mikal Bridges covered, but we did see a significant drop-off in his points and assists with Chris Paul's return. Anyway, 21 for 49 this season. Just looking at the last 10 games here for Bridges. Like I said, managed to cover with 21 points and assists with Chris Paul back. But, yeah, these previous games were without CP3. So, might be a little bit harder for him tonight. A little bit more difficult. He's going up against Dallas. He's 0-for-2 covering this prop against the Mavericks this season. 14 and 15, really not even close to 20.5 assists in either of those games. Going back and looking at some of those game logs from last season, because why the heck not? He is 1 for his last 12 against the Dallas Mavericks. 1 for his last 12, just an 8% hit rate. 22 points and assists in one game. That was November 19th, regular season game. Bridges versus the Mavericks. So that's not good. 0-for-2 this season, 1 for his last 12. This one's going to probably end up on my fade list. It's looking like a fade to me, my friend. Looking like a fade. Anyway, let's get you a projection real quick. Mikal Bridges, 22.7 points and assists. So it's a favorable projection. But the odds are kind of all over the place. Even odds on DraftKings, betting favorite under on FanDuel, slight betting favorite over on BetMGM, betting favorite under on PointsBet. So, yeah, they're all over the place. And when things are all over the place, I think I just like to walk away. So I'm going to walk away from Bridges, walking away from that one, all right? Which leaves us to our last one here, which is Jalen Green. We already talked Jalen Green's assists. Those are looking pretty spicy. I like those, especially with KPJ out. But what about Green's rebounds and assists at 7.5? Let's go dig into that one real quick. Cleveland at Houston. Again, Cleveland, like I mentioned with Kenyon Martin Jr., they got a tall team, man. They got a lot of long, athletic rebounders. Mobley, Allen. And then you got Şengün on the other side. Somebody was liking Kenyon Martin over rebounds. Jabari Smith, another guy who's like 6'8", 9, 10 or whatever. So, little Jalen Green here. Little Jalen Green is he might struggle to find some rebounds, is basically what I'm getting at here. But let's go take a look and see what kind of success he's had covering this. It's looking really good, 62% so far, 29 for 47 overall. We look at the last 30 games and 20 for 30, 67%. Last 10 games, 8 for 10, 80%. Okay, I see you, my guy. He's doing very well. No games against Cleveland, but he did play Cleveland once last season, ended up with 10 rebounds and assists. I think for me, I would probably just go purely assists, but I'm seeing a lot to like here for the rebounds and assists as well. So I could definitely see why you are considering it or liking it. So let's take Kevin Porter Jr. out, because KPJ is going to be out tonight, for those that did not know. The last 5 out of 7 games he has hit without Kevin Porter Jr. We compare that to the assists. 4 out of 7. So he does have a slightly higher hit rate on the rebounds and assists versus just the assists. Excuse me. So make of that what you will. Let's go take a look at his projections real quick. Rebounds and assists. We've got Jalen Green projected for 7.2, but he's a betting favorite to go under. So this is not one of those plus EV bets. This is not a plus EV bet for you. Okay. The odds are on the under. His projection is also under 7.5. When we compare that to the assists we were actually getting positive odds. In other words, he is a betting favorite to go over 3.5 assists at -135 up to -140. So I don't like going against the books. You can if you want to. It does have the slightly higher hit rate, but there is also some concerns about how many big, tall bodies are going to be out there for Cleveland. So I think I would go purely assist on the Jalen Green. But Bogdanovich, man, that points plus assists for Bogey, it's probably my standout of all the plays that you mentioned there. So I like that Bogdanovich points plus assists. What else? Let's see here. Osmosis Jones says, what's good, brother? Hope all is well. He likes Robert, the Time Lord, Williams over rebounds. You like Robert Williams over rebounds despite the fact that all of these Boston Celtics bodies are going to be out there tonight. Basically, they're fully healthy minus Marcus Smart. All right. Well, let's go peek at this real quick. We've got New York versus Boston. Obviously, Julius Randle's been absolutely monstrous when it comes to rebounding the basketball. For the season, we got just 16 games for Robert Williams at 7.5. I'm bumping him down to 7.5 so I can see how many times he's hit at least 8 boards or more. He's cleared this now in 4 out of his last 5 games. That's good. Now, his minutes and everything were kind of more limited when he first kind of came back off of that knee surgery, but 4 out of his last 5, he is showing good form in his last 5 games. I just want to take a look at his minutes real quick. I want to know how much playing time he's been getting. 27.5, 27.4, pretty consistent here at about 27. Against Toronto, only 15.4, and then 31.4 against Miami. That Miami game, no Horford, no Brown, no Smart, no Brogdon, so they kind of had to lean on Robert Williams to play more minutes. But I would expect that with Horford and Brown and Brogdon, those guys back tonight, you'd probably see his minutes come back to sub 30 tonight, sub 30 minutes tonight. I would assume. Okay, just guessing. But anyway, against the New York Knicks, no games this season. He did play them last season. And in those games, he went 3 for 4. He had at least 3 games where he had 8 or more rebounds, clearing 8 with 9 and 10 boards in 2 of those games. And then he came short with just 7 boards against New York. So 75% hit rate, 8.5 boards. But again, those were all from last season. So just take that, with a little grain of salt. Getting you a projection for the Time Lord, Robert Williams, tonight. Let's take a look. He is projected for 9.2 rebounds, my friends. 9.2 rebounds, but he is at 8.5 on the books. And now at 8.5 rebounds on the books, he is a -125 and even as much as a -150 betting favorite to go under. So a lot of juice coming in on the under at 8.5. So PrizePicks did what they do, and they bumped him from 8.5 down to 8. All right. So he could tie or push, but I don't know, man. I'm 4 out of his last 5 is good. Projection's good. I am concerned with the rest of these Celtics coming back, though, and the way that Julius Randle's been rebounding. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it alone. I think that one's going to be a fade for me. Ricky's saying he's fading it, too. I feel you, brother. I feel you on that. Was that the last one? That was the last one. All right. I think we got through all the super chats. My God. I hope that, that all of you found those super chats to be entertaining, enlightening, informative. Guys, it is 2:30 here. We've been at this for 2.5 hours. I'm spent. All right. We've done a lot. We've talked about a lot. I'm getting out of here. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for all your continued support. Cito, you mother... Guess I'm not going anywhere after all. Super chat not done yet. Super chat not done yet. We not done yet. He evil. He evil. You right. This man pure evil, bro. Let's go! One more. All right. Bojan Bogdanović fantasy score. We going full game or we going first half, brother? Tell me, Cito, what are you liking? First half or full game on Bogdanović fantasy score? I'm guessing you're talking full game. fully loaded on Bogdanovich. Let's pull that up real quick. Bojan Bogdanovich. FanDuel points logs this season. Full game, he says. All right. Where is his full game projection? It is at 30.5, my friends. And much like his points and assist props, his full game fantasy score prop looks like it's been slapping, been cooking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of his last 5, just like PrizePicks shows us here. We back that thing up like Juvie for the last 6 to 10 games. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's cleared in just 3 out of those 5. All right. So overall, we're looking at an 80% hit rate, 8 out of his last 10. So that's looking kind of nice. What about when he plays on the road? He's going to be on the road tonight, right? On the road. A little bit more dicey here. 47.3. He's got a 43.7, a 33.8. So he's hitting 3 out of his last 5. We go back a little further here. 1 hit out of that cluster of 5 games. So he's only hit on the road in 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, that's not good, man. 4 out of his last 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4 out of his last 10 road games he's gone over. All right, so if you are a believer in splits, well then I got some bad news for you. This does not look like a good situation for Bogdanovich. Yeah, he's playing on the road for sure. Okay, I thought so. Let's take a look at his FanDuel points per game logs, or points per game average, I should say, for home and road splits. Points per game average home this season. So he averages 30.1 fantasy points when he plays at home. When he's on the road, he averages 29.4. So a slight difference, slight change. Slightly fewer fantasy points when he plays on the road, surprisingly. All right. So that's kind of the rundown for you. I do have a projection for Bogdanovich and his fantasy score. Let's see what it's looking like. Hopefully it's more than 30.5. It is. He's projected for 31.53 fantasy points tonight. That's slightly more. That's like 1.03 fantasy points more than the 30.5. So there's that. And then we can also look at a little DVP action here. He's going to be your small forward. Small forwards against the Brooklyn Nets last 7 games. Brooklyn not really giving up a ton of fantasy points, 38.9. So I would probably prefer maybe like his first half points, his first half PRA, or that points and assists for the full game actually look pretty nice too. I think those points and assists full game had a better hit rate than his fantasy score did. So those are 3 ways to play Bogdanovich if you're interested. I would prefer first half points, first half PRA, or go full game points and assists. I think all of those may be better options. Not to say that he can't clear the fantasy score. He is projected to go over by a little bit, but this matchup against Brooklyn is defending small forwards better in the fantasy score department recently. So that's that. Let me see. He did play Brooklyn though. Let me look and see what he had against Brooklyn in that game. Brooklyn. Oh, where is he? Oh, there he is. 31.2. So he barely squeaked over the 30.5 against the Nets. That was back on December 18th. A home game versus Brooklyn. Home, where he averages slightly more fantasy points. So there you go. 31.2 in a previous game versus Brooklyn. Projected for about 31.5. So, yeah. PA for me, full game. PA or first half only on Bogdanovich, points or points, rebounds, and assists. I prefer those, especially with this game potentially being a blowout. You don't want to take a full game prop and, Brooklyn just mops the floor with the Pistons and Bogdanovich gets less minutes. You know how that all plays out. We've seen those blowouts before, but Anyway, my friends, Chris Day, yeah, fake out. Don't leave me any more super chats because I'm leaving. And if you do, you're just donating. And I appreciate the donations ahead of time. If any of you suckers want to leave me a super chat trying to be funny. All right. No, but seriously, good luck. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you like and leave a comment once the replay goes up so that you can win one of those risk-free 2-pick power plays like my guy Kevin Stevens. Kevin Stevens is our winner for today. So I'll be picking somebody in tomorrow's show from today's comment section. Let me end this stream so that you guys can go comment. All right. Peace out.